Regular season games really do not get bigger than this. The Weyburn Beavers and Medicine Mavericks are tight in the WCBL Eastern Division playoff race right now. It's two teams for one spot, and that means that both can't make the playoffs next to each other. So these two games are big. Weyburn obviously has the upper hand with the half game ahead in the standings, but for Medicine they still have belief that they can get back into things, and they're a perennial playoff team, and they feel like it's a part of our DNA. We can get there. We just have to trust it, and it will unfold. For the Beavers, it's the opposite. They haven't made the playoffs since before the pandemic, so it has been quite a while, and they need it in a bad way. They've got a ton of veterans this year, guys who have played in their league or on their team, been successful this year, and they come into tonight's game with many of those in the lineup, including a few key returners that we'll get to watch here at Athletic Park in Medicine, Alberta, as this game gets underway. My name is Truman Bartman. Alongside me to start tonight is James Tubb. James, happy to have you here on Flow Sports. And the Beavers, an intriguing team because of what they have done in the past week or so to bring in some big names.
They have, and it's quite a mid-season acquisition, late season. I don't know what you call it. Today's the deadline, so I think you could say late. But to bring in a 3-year Beaver and Ryan Muselar, who's not in the lineup tonight, and and then a 2-time All-Star and Noah Brooks, just deepens that lineup for the Beavers, and a team that we've seen a surgence of this year. We thought they would maybe take a step back after last year losing guys, and they've been able to add guys throughout, but it's been the fresh group, freshmen if you want to call them, to the WCBL that have taken the reins and kept them in this playoff hunt.
Yeah, this Beavers team is very different from the team we saw at the start of the year. They added Trevor Dale as well, Ryan Doffney. So that's 4 major veterans that come back onto their team. They do lose their star closer in Logan Kinter for the rest of the year. So one guy comes out, but you add in 4. That's a big couple of needle movers on their side. And for Medicine Hat, they bring in a couple of players this week. Insurance pieces. See if you can get some guys some rest down the stretch here in preparation for hopefully making the playoffs. Adam Wilmore coming in from Doane University. Obviously, Carter Roth and the Volcanoes there in the offseason. Trevor Sire heading there next year. Wilmore leaving, so he may be his replacement in many ways. And then a guy Ryan Reed knows very well, of course, in Jalen King. So 2 Kings on the team now. Might get a little bit confusing. And an outfielder is King from Washington. Ryan Reed very high on him and was excited that King had reached out and said he was interested in coming up here for the last month.
We've seen him a little bit. Started last night, played the whole night in center field, and from what I saw in the stream, because they were in Moose Jaw and then lost to the Miller Express, looked solid in center field, and that's a big thing from the Mavs. Evan Morrison, to his credit, did a really, really good job. Hasn't played a lot of center, moves to right field now, and just gives the Mavs outfield defense a stronger look, I would think. And it's a guy, as you said, Ryan Reed trusts, and that only helps build a lineup.
Yeah, the Mavs an unfortunate loss in a tight game yesterday, as you mentioned, against the Moose Jaw Miller Express. But they're looking for bigger and brighter things here against a team that they have almost become rivals with this season. There's been some intense games and mutual respect between the coaches, but when it comes to playing and it comes to getting into a big game environment like this, all friends are off, and we're going to see some good baseball tonight because of that. We'll be back here on Flow Sports with our starting lineups after a quick word. And here's a look at tonight's starting lineups presented by Fortis Alberta. And the Mavs, they've changed to a bit of a new look offensively over the past few games, and they're staying with that approach tonight. But there is one big name missing from the lineup, and we'll get to that in a second. But it will be Carter Roth leading off once again. Evan Morrison will be in right field. Haven't seen him there very often. He'll bat in the 2 spot. Nick Hill over at third base batting third. Frankie Giacalone at first, so the MAC-U members on the corners. Johnny Volcano, natural place at shortstop. Eric Calder will be DHing, and he's coming off of a game where he had 2 home runs here at home. Adam Volcano will slot in left field. Jaziel Grudelaar is behind the plate, and the newbie Jalen King in center field. So a lot of MAC-U representation today in this lineup. And mentioned somebody missing, Blake Dale, not in the lineup tonight. A rest day for Dale, and probably a needed one.
For sure. First game of the year, Blake Dale not in the lineup or hasn't made an appearance. He's played in all 46 for the Mavs this year, so could still get into a game here tonight. You never know what happens as a game progresses, but he's been a workhorse for the Mavs all year and gets a night off so far.
And we got the Weyburn Beavers starting lineup as well. And Hugh Montgomery, he's been their leadoff guy all year. He'll slot in first again, plays in center field very fast. He has a long range, and the Mavs will have to move around that tonight. In left field, Noah Brooks, the 2-time All-Star, started his career with the Edmonton Prospects, joined the Beavers last year. He's here for the home stretch to join a team he had a lot of success with last year. Braden Mayencourt, an All-Star campaign this year. He'll be DHing. The 3-time All-Star, Ryan Daphne, over at second base. Colt Uphold will play in right field. Robert Gurney, the natural catcher, moves to first. Will Sevier is over at third base. Trevor Dale, lots of power in that bat, and he's batting low in the lineup tonight. He'll be in at short, and we get 2 Mayencourts. They're both natural catchers, and Owen Mayencourt will be behind the plate doing the duties behind the dish tonight. On the mound for the Mavericks, facing the lineup that we just talked about with the Beavers, is Derek Archer. The numbers, James, they're great this year. 3-2 record, 4.27 ERA, 60 strikeouts, and he doesn't hand out free passes. He's one of the best pitchers in 2026.
He is. He's going to be up there, I would think, for best pitcher in the WCBL this season, and it's been well earned.
First pitch of the game is a high bunt. Scrambling out are 3 different bodies randomly. You can include Montgomery, who is moving over to first base. And a tough play for Grudelaars, Hill, and Archer to make.
Second start for Derek Archer against the Weyburn Beavers. Third appearance, came out of the bullpen for 2 innings on July 6th, July 6th. Sorry, dates and months are hard. The impressive one was his first start against Weyburn back in June. 6 innings, 11 strikeouts, and in a win. So he's familiar with these Beavers hitters.
Pitch will miss outside, so it'll be 1-1. His last relief appearance here at home, maybe not something that we want to talk about a whole bunch, because it was really just a filler day for Archer, not his natural start. He struggled in that outing, gave up a home run. He puts this wide, and it'll be ball 2. And he struggled to find the strike zone in that game as well, but it was his start previous against Regina, I believe. Saskatoon that was one for the books, and the Mavs end up losing that game, but he worked deep into it and logged a lot of innings. There's a swing and a miss as he moves it back to 2-2 against Montgomery.
He did. That outing was 8 innings, 9 strikeouts, and was working a no-hitter into the 6th inning, I believe, and gave up a hit and then a home run and battled through that still to get to 8 and left the 8th inning with a tie game.
Archer. The 2-2 is going to be high to Montgomery. The Beavers, not one of the higher scoring offenses in the WCBL. Their pitching has kind of held them into some games, surprisingly, and they lost lots of good pitchers in the turnover from 25 to 26, and they've still navigated well. Here's a ground ball over to Johnny Volcano, catches it off a hot hop and delivers the first out at first base.
You mentioned at Weyburn come into this game, they're the lowest scoring East Division team with 260 runs scored, and that's good for third last in the league, if you want to call it that. Energy City, who has a few games to make up, so they're hard to count with only 242, and Fort McMurray's only scored 254 runs. So they've been able to find wins in close games, and that's a team that, if they're pushing for a playoff spot like they are, it's a good spot to be.
First pitch here of the night to Noah Brooks, his first appearance this season at Athletic Park, got into games here last year in 2025, and mentioned he's a 2-time All-Star and a unique 2-time All-Star. There's very few players in the league's history that have done what he's done in both All-Star appearances. In his first, he played for the Western Division. In his second, for the East, and I think he's one of maybe 3 or 4 guys to ever accomplish that feat.
I can't think of any more, or a couple more off the top of my head. It's pretty special.
Archer gets a foul off there from Brooks. Good power in the bat of Brooks, an RBI machine in the past, and he's a tough guy to get out at the plate.
Yeah, just the fifth at bat. This is for Noah Brooks, or sixth plate appearance. Still looking for that first hit on the season, the young season for him.
Here's the 1-2 from Archer, and a flare out towards Volcano. He's been busy already. That's out number 2.
I think Ryan Reed and the Mavs will take that. If a lot of the balls are going to be hit towards their shortstop, there's a lot of trust there in Johnny Volcano, and as we've seen, 2 quick outs.
So 2 big names down. Now Braden Mayencourt comes to the plate, and a special night for him because he gets to share the field with his brother in a high-stakes game as well, and I'm sure that was the dream growing up that Owen and Braden would get to play alongside one another. Archer fanning that off was Mayencourt, right inside at the hands, and Archer's arsenal, it is straightforward, simple. He has a couple pitches he works really well. The changeup to lefties is something that he likes to go with. We'll see if it appears against a lefty in Mayencourt. High pitch to Mayencourt. That'll be ball number 1. A different look here from Mayencourt today. Last time the bat was completely different. It was all one color. Now he's got a top black side to it. Some batters, I know you got to keep it routine. They want to keep things simple, but Mayencourt mixing it up. High pitch here will be ball 2 for Archer.
I do like from Mayencourt, we're seeing it less and less, the no-glove look. We talked a lot about it with Johnny Volcano, who now wears batting gloves, but a little old school and a pretty open stance here for the Weyburn designated hitter.
Mayencourt had a home run here earlier this year as he fans this one into foul territory, and it's just out of the reach of Giacalone. He caught it off the hop. He was trying to sell it over there, James. That's a tough play to make, and an even tougher sell when it lands right in front of you.
Yeah, with the umpire right there following behind it. He wasn't far off. If he had another maybe step or two, he might have got to that one, but gets it off the hop, and Derek Archer here now looking to get the final strike. And
beer batters have had bad fortune recently. 3 consecutive games where they've struck out. Mayencourt hoping to stop that streak today. And he swings and fouls that one off. Grudelars goes down hard. And he hops back up immediately, but a scary sight there. You just never know where that ball landed.
No, he wore it somewhere, and it didn't look like a comfortable one. But he's up, and that's the biggest thing for the Mavs. He looks like he's going to be all right.
The ball boy coming out. Add some reinforcements. So Archer will step back to the mound, and the foul off there from Mayencourt stops the routine for Archer. He works so fast on the mound, and it keeps hitters off balance, allows his defense to settle in, and they love working games when Archer is on the bump.
It just keeps everyone locked in. Ryan Reed has talked about that. It just keeps the game flowing a lot better for everyone.
Archer kicks, deals, and a ground ball here from Mayencourt. Roth tells everyone to back off, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the first. The Mavericks, they've struggled in the first inning in the past. They gave up 4 in their last home game in the first inning. It is a clean 0 for Archer and company here through the top of 1. Let's talk about Carter Roth, and I'm sure we could talk about him for hours, but another great season for a two-time WCBL All-Star MVP, and it seems the perennial average leader on the Medicine Hat Mavericks as he steps up in the one spot here against Josh Pritchard on the mound. Roth, first swing of the game is up into right field, and Colt Uphold is there to make the play for out number one. One pitch, one out for Pritchard on the mound.
Works pretty good on the Weyburn side for the Mav side there. Carter Roth saw a pitch he wanted, and, it's tough sometimes. You want your leadoff guy to either see a lot of pitches and, work up the pitch count, let everyone behind him see what the pitcher's working with. But, if you see something to attack, you do, and Roth with a swing there.
Pritchard, a guy who can fill up the zone. He has a place there. He's able to utilize his pitches well to get into the strike zone. His issue, when there is an issue, is that batters, they can come right back at him and hit what he's offering up. Had a decent year at college this year, and with Weyburn, he's a guy who's put in a lot of work. He's near one of the highest totals in the entire league in innings pitched this year, and you see a lot of those from the Beavers starters, whether that's Logan Lynch or Zach Rachel or Pritchard on the mound. Morrison's going to foul this one off, and it keeps the count at 1-2.
They're an organization that seems to pride themselves in those long outings, and that's old school ball, and it's a good effort.
Morrison, a hot one right over to second base. It's fielded well by Ryan Daphne, and Daphne, we've grown to expect that with him. He's a great defender, really calm out there under pressure, and he's positionally sound. When you have him and Trevor Dale in your infield, and in your middle infield especially, it makes life really easy.
It does on both sides of the ball. Defensively sound, and they're going to add some thump to the lineup, and that's I'm pretty sure Cam Williams has a smile every time he gets to write those two names in.
Here's Nick Hill, and smiling so far this year has been Ryan Reed ever since bringing Nick Hill up. He has walked his way through the league and made pitchers look silly routinely. Had a little bit of a slump there. That was only 2 games, but he's recovered since. He sends a ground ball to Trevor Dale at short. So it's 1-2-3 on both sides. It's a good job by each pitcher getting weak contact, a couple of ground balls to their shortstops, and it makes for a quick first. Three times an All-Star, one of the most accomplished players in Weyburn Beavers history. He leads in all statistical categories, games played, hits, you name it. Ryan Daphne has done it. The only thing missing from his resume is a playoff appearance. Weyburn has not made the playoffs in his tenure, and he is looking to bring them to that spot this year. First, he's going to focus on the opening matchup here with Derek Archer. It's a strike to Ryan Daphne on the first pitch. The Mavs have fared pretty well against Daphne, which is surprising because most other teams have not.
No, I think that's a crown to wear for the Mavs pitchers to be able to get this guy out.
Archer. Daphne will take for ball one. Has one of the best batting stances in the league. So unique, low to the ground. And I think a couple of years ago I was on social media and I saw somebody bring up a clip of, maybe it was an old Arizona Diamondbacks player who squatted low, and it just said Ryan Daphne up top. I said, that's very accurate. I mean, he can smell the ground with how close he is down there.
It's almost like Jeff Bagwell. That's Houston
Yes,
Astros. That's
Houston
old
Astros. Yeah, that's a good comparison,
Yeah.
too.
Little Pete Rose, too, from the left side. Or right side, pardon me.
1-2 look here to Dauphney. Here's the pitch from Archer. This one popped off by Dauphney and foul. You wonder a lot of the time, why do some of these Weyburn guys keep coming back? They're not born in Weyburn, but they fostered a relationship with the people in the community. And for a guy like Dauphney, and you mentioned Ryan Musilar, there's something obviously bigger than baseball, and it's great to see those small communities get big-time players back each year. There's another one fouled off by Dauphney, same side. The kids, whoever are on the right-hand side running, they're going to have lots of souvenirs off of the last two pitches.
You know, we see Dauphney fighting off here, and this is game 13 for him. He's only struck out 5 times this year, Truman, and you know, so he doesn't miss the ball much, and he's going to try to make contact as much as possible.
Archer. Dauphney swing and a miss, make that strikeout number 6, and the announcer's jinx there for you, James. But Derek Archer, he's one of the best strikeout pitchers in Mavs history, and I don't just say that, you know, to be over the top or, you know, accentuate too much, but he really is. He is on pace right now to tie Nathan Gonzalez for the most strikeouts in a season by a Mavericks pitcher at 70.
He is at 61 now for Derek Archer, and it's been an impressive summer here for him in the Mavs jersey, and you know, he's going to push that record, and I wouldn't be shocked to see it if we see him break it at some point here.
Ball 1 here from Archer as he now sees Colt Uphold. Uphold playing over in right field. Diego Centella pitched last night for the Mavericks, and I'm sure he was hoping he would get to pitch a day later. Him and Uphold went to the same high school together, so I'm sure they're still connected and talk once in a while. Archer, Uphold over to center field, and there to track it down and make the play. Making his first play here at Athletic Park is Jalen King.
It's good that his first play here was an easy one. Didn't have to range back and test the wall out, and I'm sure he did in batting practice today, but it's nice he gets that catch. And to circle back, did Centella ever say how he favored against his former teammate if they did live BP against each other?
He didn't say whether, they'd had any, former matchups or anything. What he did mention is he said, we went to the same high school, but I believe Colt was older than him, so they'd had limited interactions, but never anything crazy on the high school team. Here's Roth stretching out towards foul territory, and that is 6 up, 6 down for Derek Archer, who continues to put it on cruise control here at home. James, what is his formula? Why is he so effective? Why is this just routine?
I think it's the way he's able to mix up his pitches and the routine and the way he's able to, stream them, I'll call them, because I can't remember the exact word, tunnel them, pardon me. Whether it's the off-speed or the fastball, they're able to go off of each other and just confuse hitters. And we saw that the last start against Saskatchewan, how well he was just able to keep them off balance. And they were either guessing and it was landing as a strike, or they were just getting underneath it, on top of it for groundouts and flyouts. So it's just effective, and it works. And it's that's maybe not doing it enough justice, but for Derek Archer, he is just effective, and it works.
And he, on a game day, is just so him still. I mean, I bumped into him earlier today and had a conversation as if it was any other day. And maybe that's what makes him so good, is it relieves this level of pressure. And what his coaches talk about, aside from him, keeping it calm and just keeping it loose before a pregame, is when there is adversity, Archer's a guy that wants to attack, and he wants to be the person to pull the team out of the heap or whatever it may be, and he's shown that this year. So not only is he preaching that by his body language and maybe what he says, but the results are speaking for themselves.
They have, and he's done a really good job of being a bright spot for this Mavs team, a reliant point of, every 5th, 6th day, whenever he can get on the mound, they know they can lean on him, and they're going to get an effective outing.
The Mavs have leaned on this guy for power so far this year. Frankie Giacalone comes up to the plate, and before he gets set, let's take a look at the numbers for Josh Pritchard, who we've talked a lot about Archer. We're going to dabble into Pritchard's lane as well. A 3-4 record, a 6.63 ERA, 40 strikeouts mentioned. He's a guy that knows where the strike zone is, can carve it well, and he's done that a few times in this game, forcing some swings.
He has, and this is the fourth time the Mavs have seen him. I believe it's the second or the first start, as far as I can tell, but they've had success against Pritchard and also been held without any runs against him. So he's looking to keep that, to try to get back to that, not giving up any runs, and the Mavs are just trying to tap back into history.
Giacalone will get set up here. Main court waits for the pitch, and it's just low to Giacalone. A 4.04 ERA at school this year for Pritchard. Mentioned before his numbers were good, but obviously wanted to bring in exactly what they are. And a 4.04 at the collegiate level is good in most cases. 32 strikeouts as well as he pulls that one wide. And now it's a 3-1 count to Giacalone.
Now, Giacalone's in a spot where he can try to be aggressive here if he gets his pitch, but also make Pritchard work a little bit. Just 12 pitches for the Weyburn starter right now, and wait for his.
And Giacalone thought he was going to first, a quick bat drop, and he'll have to reset at 3-2.
Pritchard did a good job catching the outside of the zone there, and it was close. Maybe not as close as, not as far out as Giacalone thought it was, but full count now.
Pritchard. Giacalone, a swing and a miss, and a powerful swing at that. Attacking the pitch was Giacalone, and he is down, so that's 4 consecutive retired for Pritchard.
And it looks like just a couple fastballs on that was able to get the effectiveness, the painted strike, and then the swinging strike. There's stuff there. It moves well enough that it can miss a bat.
Now time for Johnny Volcano as he heads up to the plate. First pitch strike, a good framing job there by Mayencourt. Looked like he may have had a little bit of effect moving that back into the zone. Volcano now has to swing at it on the second try from Pritchard.
It plays well with that off speed. If he's able to get that moving to the outside and is able to paint those strikes, it's going to be hard to combat.
Pritchard will take some time, so will Volcano. Not sure if this is an updated arsenal for Pritchard, but I know coming out of high school he had a fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. Obviously, players like to experiment. Here's Volcano all the way to left field, and the catch is made right on the warning track. A phenomenal play there by Noah Brooks, who was almost fading away when he landed in the webbing.
Almost wonder if he didn't expect it to come off the bat that hard and had to take a couple steps back and get up and reach up for that one, and he's able to. And welcome back to AP. Noah Brooks had to work on that one, and that was a good swing from Johnny Volcano after working to an 0-2 count, battling there, and a little pull in that one, and maybe it gets down. But 2 outs here for the Mavs.
Eric Calder finally broke out of his slump in his last game here. 2 home runs, and we talked to him in the postgame, James. He was really satisfied with his performance. As Calder goes the other way for a base hit, and it just continues here at home. As Ryan Reed said, when you barrel it up enough, you're going to find results, and he has started to do that.
Yeah, it'd be really, really big for the Mavs if they're able to get this guy going. And, we saw it, as you mentioned, in the last home game, a pair of 2-run home runs, and, both pull side goes the opposite way with that one. But if he's able to get the hard lineouts that are hard hits that were lineouts before into hits now, that's an added weapon for this lineup.
First hit of the game for the Mavericks, first guy aboard. Now up to the plate is Adam Volcano. Talked to Volcano before this game, and he said in the clubhouse right now it's about picking each other up, and whoever that may be, whether it's a coach, a player, or even a brother in his case, with Johnny being on the squad again. And he said that's what he tries to focus on, coming to the park with a clear approach each day and being hungry to try and get back into this season. Volcano fouls that off at 2-1. He's really broken out in so many ways, including on the mound.
He has. He's been really relied upon this season for Ryan Reed and his staff on both sides. As you said, as a pitcher, he started games, came in and ate up a lot of innings, and also every day in the outfield at times, and it's been relied.
Swinging a foul off for Volcano. It's 2-2 between him and Pritchard, and a Cloverdale battle. It says Surrey, I think, officially on Pritchard's card, but I believe he is from Cloverdale, and Volcano the same at the plate. Pitch is going to miss high and outside, so it'll be now a full count to Volcano.
we've seen this a little bit this year from Adam Volcano, able to work counts a little bit more, and I think that just comes with more at bats.
And Volcano's going to walk here. Off for second was Calder. Almost automatic in that scenario with a full count look. And now the Mavericks have 2 on and a guy in scoring position. And it will bring up Jaziel Grudelars. Grudelars, a base hit machine. That is his bread and butter. You're not going to see a lot of power from the catcher, but he runs well and he slap hits effectively.
He does. He's has an aggressive swing when he wants to. It seems it's right up there with Frankie Giacalone and Nick Hill and the 2 power bats of the Mavs. And Grudelars just gets it out there as much as he can.
Grudelars, a switch hitter, goes left-handed here. Slow roller to Daphne. He corrals it over to first. That's out number 3. So the Mavs leave a pair stranded, 1 in scoring position, and we remain tied at 0. First hit of the game up on the board via Eric Calder. Josh Pritchard still in command overall as he gets the Beavers through 2.
For more than 40 years, we've been there, helping Canadians find the extra space they need to grow and to create new memories. Sentinel Storage. Buy Canadian, store Canadian.
Over a century, we've been more than just lawyers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your strongest advocates. With locations across the prairies, we're everywhere you are. Stringham, your local lawyers.
Will Sevier. I don't believe he has appeared here, at least hitting so far this year for the Weyburn Beavers, so a newbie to Athletic Park. Archer, first pitch from Sevier, and it feels like he's played here for years. A single into center, and the first hit of the game for the Beavers.
Just able to drop that one in past the infielders, and see Carter Roth ranging for that one, unable to get it. And quick little helmet switch there at first base, too. That's for Sevier. I wonder if it's the flaps. Maybe you had to get it for the guys next in the order.
Got to be more aerodynamic, I guess. Here is Trevor Dale. I can think back to a year ago. He was here. It was one of his first ever games at Athletic Park, and he hit one of the deepest home runs I've seen. A fly out this time for Dale. King posted up in center field. He makes the play for out number 1. And with Dale down and 1 out, it'll bring up Owen Mayencourt. Welcome to Medicine Hat, Alberta. Opposite side from his brother. That's so interesting. You get a pair of brothers who are close in age, and they bat from different sides. Archer, a quick peek over to first. Look over at Sevier. Here's one struck well over towards left field. King ranging over. He'll slide and make the grab. And Jalen King, he's had a busy day, and he has lived up to the task.
It's a really nice catch, and that's just, what we talked about off the hop of adding that defense to center field for the Mavs, and, just makes that outfield defense even better with, him, and we see Adam Volcano and Evan Morrison, and it just makes things a lot easier for Ryan Reed and his staff.
Archer, there's a long leadoff over at first base being put on by Sevier. It brings to the plate Hugh Montgomery. If Montgomery gets on the base path, that's a guy you might see put in a steal spot. Archer, not even looking behind him and Low pitch here for ball number 2. Looks like Grudelars is going to get a new one.
It feels like this is of any moments with Sevier at first taking those leadoffs to look for that back pick between the two Mac U products there and Grudelars and Giacalone. There's some kind of sign. They won't allude to it.
Yeah, I know.
They
I'm
won't
looking
publicly
for
say
it.
But there is there.
Another low pitch from Archer. Not chasing at any is Montgomery. It's probably good that Archer doesn't know a whole lot about Noah Brooks on deck. Sometimes you can be fearful as a pitcher if you know a guy as good as Brooks is coming up. Archer is going to miss on 4 pitches here, and that is not something we've seen a lot from him. The first time we saw that was during his relief appearance, and I think I mentioned at the time it was a bit startling and kind of jarring. You don't see that from Derek Archer.
No, just the 20th walk on the summer for Derek Archer, and he's been that relied upon from the Mavs that he doesn't allow the free passes, and if there is a free pass, it's an error behind him, and now he's got to work out of a jam here with 2 outs.
And here comes Noah Brooks, who is due. First pitch to Brooks is a strike. You look at the setup that the Mavs had in the bottom half of the second. 2 on, the last guy walks. The same thing here for the Beavers. Can they capitalize? That's a big moment in the game already, you feel like, because they've had the same scenario. Archer started Brooks off with a strike, goes back to it, and gets a swing and a miss. Spending his year at the University of Pikeville again was Noah Brooks, and they had a loaded team a couple of years ago. Austin Gurney, the 3-time WCBL All-Star. Robert Gurney played there before going to Mayville State this season. Pikeville is a great feeder for the league. 0-2 here to Brooks. A longer approach here from Archer as he's shaking off a couple of pitches. Time being called.
Just trying to work on some sequencing maybe here with Grudelars. You saw off-speed first pitch, fastball for the second strike, and it's kind of hard to decide what do you go back to, and you got swings on both and able to make or swing on one at the last one.
Brooks gonna hammer this one towards the gap. Too far for Volcano. They're gonna wave the runner around. The ball took a while to get there. It gets to Grudelars, but the Beavers with a 1-0 lead off the single from Noah Brooks, his first hit of the year, and it comes at a big moment.
It's a really nice swing there from Brooks, just putting it out of the reach there, Johnny Volcano. Adam Volcano with a throw that, maybe if the ball had a little more steam on it, got to him quicker, would have been closer at the plate, but just not able to do it. And, the returning Beaver strikes early here for Weyburn.
Now here comes up Braden Mancourt, a strikeout in his first plate appearance. He has 2 on here. It is important for the Beavers to get runs early as a team that doesn't score a lot. Obviously, it allows you to open up later on in the game. And maybe that's been the problem for Weyburn, is getting early runs.
Takes a bit of the pressure off, especially if you're able to add to it and stack things up along the way. You're not playing chase the rest of the game.
The Mavs have seen that approach from other teams, scoring in back-to-back innings or 3 or 4 consecutive, and then you just feel like you can never get back in a game. Archer, a longer stare over this time. Maybe a staring contest between him and Mayencourt. Archer delivers. Mayencourt a swing and a miss, and that off-speed pitch, my goodness, James, the floor being pulled out from under it.
Yeah, that was a pretty hot and heavy swing there from Mancourt, and just not able to sit back on that one, and works quickly here to 2 strikes.
So the same scenario before for Derek Archer. It was Brooks who capitalized with a hit. Let's see what Mancourt has. And time being called here, I believe by Mancourt, who will step out. Smart approach here from the Beavers. They know the tendency for Archer is to work quick. Why not slow him down?
And whether that's also to disrupt the thinking, right? We've seen both times or the first time it was the last at bat Brooks, it was when they were trying to figure out what pitch to throw, and he called time, and then Mancourt there, it was definitely feels like to either catch a breath or disrupt tempo.
Archer, the 1-2, Mancourt is going to send this one towards left foul territory. Nick Hill walking with it all the way, but it's too far foul.
I don't know if there's a foul ball. Nick Hill thinks he can't get to because he tries for all of them. Him and Frankie Jack, it's the corners. It's something about them. They like trying to get to him.
Main court. James, you mentioned that old school approach, and I'm sure for some of the older baseball fans out there, they can appreciate that. The swings have changed over the years, but main court, he was taught right, it looks like.
He's also got something to fight blisters because that looks like a blister factory.
Pitch is going to miss away. No swing there from main court. Well, with all the new grip tapes and things you can come up with, obviously there's ways to prevent it. Back in the day, I couldn't imagine. Archer loads up here for a 2-2 pitch. 2 on for the Beavers. Main court, a stinger into right field. That's down. This should be able to score 1. And misplacing it over in right field is Evan Morrison. Nearly going off for second base was main court. He'll sit over at first, and it's a 2-0 Beavers lead here in the third. A late inning rally, James, with 2 out.
Yeah, it is. It's a really nice hit there from main court, just pulling it down the line. 2 strikes back-to-back. Beavers have been able to fight off 2 strike counts with Derek Archer and are able to work themselves into RBI singles.
This has been the Mavs' kryptonite. Late inning rallies, and they're feeling that a bit here already. Archer, quick peek over towards Jack Loney in first. Now here's Ryan Daphne. Daphne takes a first pitch strike. And this is the time for the Beavers where you want things to happen. You get Brooks, you get Mancourt, you get Daphne. With 2 on before that, that's what they're aiming for every game. I'm sure if they could say if there was a wonderland on the baseball field, it would be that look. Archer, low pitch, no swing from Daphne. Daphne dealing with the bugs out there. From what I heard at field level today, the sand flies were miserable, and that'll play a role in this game, I'm sure. Here's Daphne. High one towards right field, and it looks like it's going to land in the gap and get down. 1 is in to score. Could be another. Roth yelling to be the cutoff man. He's going to throw it home. Grudelars is there, gets the tag, and the out at the plate. But it is 3 runs in the third for the Beavers as they take the lead in a crucial matchup against the Mavericks. The first at-bat in a Mavericks uniform at home for Jalen King. He batted yesterday in Moose Jaw. He's patrolled center field well tonight. Takes a first pitch for a strike and a head shake right after. So the Mavericks playing from behind here for the first time in this game, 3-0. They rallied from being down 4 in their last game at home. Here's a ground ball to Trevor Dale, pulling off the bag, and King with some good speed. He's safe at first.
That would, if that throw was on target there from Dale, it would have been close to see, what the out would have been. That was some wheels there from Jalen King to get down the line and start this inning with a base runner.
And now you see why the shape of this lineup is so effective. Carter Roth coming in. You have one on. couldn't be much better for the Mavs.
And just want to give Rose first WCBL hit for Jalen King. I believe, yep, it is credited as a hit.
Pritchard. Pitch will miss outside. He's just given up 2 hits so far, one to Eric Calder, the other to King. A guy that can work really deep, and the Beavers are banking on that in today's game. They would love to preserve the bullpen for tomorrow, and if they can stay up in this game, then it becomes a winning scenario tomorrow where you come in and you can use so many different arms and many different looks. 2-0 here to Carter Roth, almost a green light spot for him. King a long lead, and Roth will take for a strike. Final year in a Mavericks uniform for Roth. There's lots of guys you could say that about in this game. It's almost sad. It's about all of the oldies. Roth, ground ball, could be 2. Dale flips over to Daphne. Down to first, and Roth runs too well. Ball will hit the bottom of the dugout. If it would have gone in, it would have been a double. Instead, Roth will park it first.
Not the worst case scenario for the Mavs. You trade base runners. I think maybe King a little more speed, but Roth a little older, the veteran, and we've seen him steal bases in this league, and backed up almost in that swing, and it sets up what could have been the double play for Weyburn. So we saw a really good first swing from Carter Roth on the flyout, and I think he's just trying to get Pritchard lined up here in his at-bats.
Here's Morrison close to the gap and just through. Roth is going to try for 3 as the ball got away all the way into right field. And it slowed up right before Uphold could get it. Now runners on the corners for the Mavs. A good response here after giving up 3. And now they have a chance with a big-time name coming up to the plate in Nick Hill.
It is. It sets up something that we haven't seen a lot this year, and the Mavs have to do in this late stretch, and if they can get into the postseason, is be able to respond in game and inning by inning. And I like the base running from Carter Rowe. Stops up on the ground ball so it doesn't hit him. Would have been out if it did, and is able to go on to third.
Hill just under that swing. You could tell he was thinking moonshot, and he held the pose.
It looked destined for left center field.
Yeah, that is his spot.
He likes it.
Pritchard. Swing and a miss here from Hill. An aggressive approach in the box. So with the runners on the corner look for Pritchard, he's almost like a security guard right now. He has to check in front of him, behind him, at the plate. All sides need to be covered. The 0-2 from Pritchard. Hill floats this one high. It should be playable over at second for Daphne. He'll make the grab. That'll be out number 2. And talk about areas where the Mavs have needed to improve, and it has been hit and miss in the spot, is having runners in scoring position and having only 1 or no outs on the board and not being able to rally any. They need this one badly, and I know it's early in the game, but you just can't get too far behind and then start to psych yourself out.
Yeah, that's when you end up getting a really aggressive late and pushing, and at-bats turn quick as you're trying to pounce early. So you want to strike when you can and when the iron's hot, and would have loved for that one to be a little deeper for sac fly. And
Giacaloni's going to pop this one up over to Ryan Daphne, and it's the same story here for Medicine Hat. That's out number 3. Roth left at third. Morrison over at first. 2 consecutive pop-ups forced by Josh Pritchard, who's had a solid day. It's a pitcher's duel in many ways. Archer going toe-to-toe with Pritchard, and both doing solid.
Yo, Dustin, you get going?
Yes.
Can I join you guys? All right, let's go.
Whether it's on the ice or on our app, always play for the fun of the game. Gamble responsibly with Play Alberta.
July, the Okotoks Dogs and Baseball Canada will host the Road to Okotoks and the Morneau Cup National Championship at the Seaman Stadium Complex from July 14th to 19th. Come watch the top 16 youth baseball teams from across the country. These are the future stars of Canadian baseball, tomorrow's collegiate standouts and professional players, all chasing a national championship. Don't miss a week of elite competition, unforgettable moments, and the future of Canadian baseball in Okotoks.
So the Mavs unable to convert on offense, and they still trail 3-0. This is where it gets interesting for Weyburn and Cam Williams' crew. You have the lead. Can you build immediately? We've seen that in the past from teams against the Mavericks. Weyburn is going to need to do that and do it at a consistent clip in this game if they want to run away with it.
Yeah, if you can string back-to-back innings with runs, it creates a mountain that's the other team has to start to try to climb, and that's what the Beavers will try to do here.
First pitch from Archer is a strike. First guy up to bat is Colt Uphold. It's Robert Gurney who waits on deck. Uphold smacks this one wide, and it'll be 0-2.
And if you're the Mavs and Archer, this is what you need to do. You need to work quick counts and up to 0-2 already, and try to get the bats back to the plate.
Archer right on the way. Uphold, ground ball. Roth there to claim it, and he'll take out number 1. Quick 4-3 for the Mavs, and Robert Gurney will now head to the plate. Gurney with a home run here earlier this year in a losing effort against Medicine Hat.
I think it's something with the Gurneys in this league, and especially against the Mavs. Austin obviously with the Moose Jaw Miller Express, and Robert both just real good ball players, and they're able to find a lot of success.
I know Austin Gurney had a 2 home run game. I remember he was close to 3 one time as well, but something about Gurneys and playing at Athletic Park. First pitch from Archer. Sticks to the back of Grudelaars' glove for strike 1. Beautiful night here in Medicine Hat. No clouds in the sky. A little bit of a haze because of the wildfires going on in the distance. Swing and a miss there from Gurney. No wildfires in Medicine Hat, but that smoke travels very fast.
I think it would be traveling from BC as far as I understand. I don't think there's any Alberta wildfires, knock on wood.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Gurney, hard hit ball over towards center field. King is going all the way back to the wall, and I don't know if King came down with it. No signal yet. King is down in a heap, and I think Gurney believes it's gone. It will be a home run here for the Beavers. They are up 4-0.
It was hard to tell because it looked like Jalen King was lined up with that one, and I think it's just a little bit past him, and you wonder if maybe he banged up the arm on the fence or just overall took the fence hard there, and he looks a little bit shaken up there in center field.
Well, I'm not sure what's still laying on the ground. It could be his glove. It is. I was seeing something red. I'm like, he's wearing a hat already. Was he wearing 2? But may have made contact with that camera out there in center field, and yeah, I'm sure that wouldn't have been a fun experience for King. So Archer has given up 4 runs here. We're in the 4th inning, and he spikes one wide. Maybe the first little sign of frustration we've seen from Derek Archer. It's not a common occurrence.
No, it hasn't. He's been able to respond after giving up home runs or runs, and I think now it's just kind of the rare time he's got to try to lock back in here and try to get some outs.
Pitch will miss low. It's 2-0. You're going to get to a point, if you're the Mavericks, where if this weekend does not go your way, you might have to chalk it up to it's just not one of those years with obviously the teams they'll face after that. Here's a high one to center field again. King is ranging back to the wall one more time, and he'll make the grab this time around. So 2 close calls in center field. One goes the Beavers' way, the other held by King, and that's out number 2.
And he made sure to show that one off, didn't leave anyone in suspense. And, even for him, for King, you got to right back to it. You get to see where the wall is and bump up against it, and this time get the out.
A big out here for Derek Archer, maybe a bit of a confidence booster. And now contact the other way now into right field for Sevier. A long way to run. Morrison sliding, and he makes the grab. So 2 big catches in a row for the Mavs. That will end the inning, but not without a run added to the score tally for Robert Gurney. A solo shot into center, a guy who loves playing here, and a guy who's been getting a lot of results when it comes to Medicine Hat. Now a 4-0 lead for Josh Pritchard to pitch with. And first pitch ball here to Johnny Volcano. Pritchard, only 2 hits given up, working efficiently, and he's getting quick contact from the Mavs, who are starting to play over-aggressive. The opposite approach here from Volcano. It's now 2-0.
Yeah, Pritchard's done a really good job of either getting the Mavs to go be on top of the ball or under the ball, and we saw that the last inning, couple of pop-ups.
Volcano grounds this one foul. David Dell out of the way. He's taken over the third base coaching duties. I believe Pig's still at first. I don't think he's moved all year long.
No, at least at home, and I think that's head coach Ryan Reed just has talked about wanting to get more of a connection with the pitchers and the catchers and working on the game plan. As you know, Johnny Volcano's game plan has worked here, a 3-1 count here against Pritchard.
Volcano. This one has bloop potential as it's into center and it's down for a base hit. Johnny Volcano fights that off, and he usually sends lasers into the outfield. That the opposite, but it still works and it still counts for 1.
Sometimes you get a little jammed and it just floats in there, and with the speed that Hugh Montgomery has for that one to drop in front of him, it hung up and was just shallow enough at the same time, and it's a good spot for the Mavs to start with a base runner.
Eric Calder would have liked a base runner on last time when he got a hit, but a chance to do it again, and a guy who's feeling it right now at home. Calder takes a first pitch strike. The problem for Calder really hasn't been that he hasn't played good. He's still gotten on base. That hasn't been an issue, but the average has dipped at times, and he just sets himself to a high standard. Calder pushes this one into the gap, a slow roller off the apron. Volcano thought about going past second. He's back. He's safe. And so Calder over at first. A lot happening in the last 2 seconds.
There is. It's back-to-back innings. Mavs base runners from first have to play a little shimmy shake run into second to avoid ground balls, and see Volcano stopping up there and then thinking about third. And it's a good spot now for the other Volcano, Adam Volcano, to step up with runners on first and second and try to do some damage here.
24 RBIs on the season for Adam Volcano. Just the 1 home run, I believe that came here at Athletic Park. Volcano, there is a hint of power, but he's more of an extra base hit guy than a home run smasher. Pritchard. Good floater there to Volcano. That's a tough pitch to hit, and probably the better idea is to stay off of it like Volcano did.
It does, and it sets the precedent of that for the at-bat now of the outside corner, that he can work there and work there really well.
Volcano waits. This time it's missed for Pritchard. You could tell he was going for a similar look to try and generate a swing. Volcano, good eye to tell the difference.
It'll be interesting to see, because we've seen that really all outing here from Pritchard, is working the outside corner, how he adjusts to that throughout. And he's been able to get outs either inside or just jamming guys enough, or, as I said, getting on top or below the ball. And, you know, it's a battle.
Here's Volcano over and towards left field, and it's going to land for a base hit. So those were the hits the Mavs had talked about earlier in the year. We're just not putting them into the right spots, but we're making contact. And Adam Volcano this time takes a little off of it, gets a result as it's a base hit down, and now Jaziel Grudelaars, base is loaded. Can the Mavs find it now?
I don't know if you caught it, the fake there from Noah Brooks, like he was going to catch it, drops in front of him, holds Johnny Volcano to third, and you know, maybe he would have tried to run if he knew it was going to get down, but wasn't able to go all the way.
And there's a reason that Noah Brooks is back on this team and that he's a senior, as this one into right field. The crowd going to get up for the base hit from Jaziel Grudelaars. 1 in to score, potentially 2 as Calder's across. Throw not in time, and it's a 2 RBI single for Jaziel Grudelaars, which cuts the lead in half.
And that's all you need from a Jaziel Grudelaars. Pull that one, a simple base hit, bring in runs, doesn't have to try to do anything too big, and he does it just enough, and it brings in 2 runs from the Mavs.
And I believe this is Jackson Henderson, the former Weyburn Beavers pitcher. Was with them in 2025. He'll come out and have a chat with Pritchard. To finish the note about Noah Brooks, he was a senior in school this year. He's been around the league for now 3 years, and he understands the ins and outs. A younger player might dive for that ball. Brooks took his medicine, and although it came back to hurt the Beavers now, it was the right play. So the Mavs will still have 2 on the corners here. And it brings to the plate Jalen King. Had his first hit of the season in his first at-bat here tonight. Does he have a second one in him in a a spot that the Mavericks really like. Nobody out, 2 on.
It's also a moment, Truman, I wonder, just Ryan Reed knows his guy, and we've seen Jalen King, the bunt, see if maybe he lays one down here, whether it moves Grudelaars to second, brings in a run, but just you have outs to play with in this inning, and maybe that turns the order over for Carter Roth.
Pritchard, quick head nod. Pitch outside. Grudelaars is going to get away. He's off to second base. No sending of Volcano over at third. James, you're shaking your head.
No, it's not in a bad way. I think it now, in my mind, it would take the bunt off the table. Now you're just trying to get a swing and see if King can get a hit down or a deep sac fly. That's all I was thinking.
I was gonna say, I don't know what you're questioning. I don't know how Volcano could have run in on that.
No, he's all good.
Pritchard, a forceful stare down here with Jalen King. A good pitch to King. He'll take. It's 1-1. Over at first base, playing way in over there is Robert Gurney. King, floater towards right field. It's going to push the right fielder way back. Uphold makes the grab. Tagging up and coming in to score is Adam Volcano. There are no guys in the WCBL who can make that throw. You're looking at major leaguers if you're trying to get that out from right field. And now the Mavs have the tying run over at third base, and they've made this a one-run game. Just an ideal pushback. You can't wait till the end to try and climb all the way out of a hole. They respond almost immediately after giving up the 4 runs in the last 2.
Yeah, it's a good response from the Mavs, and you're going to laugh as soon as I say this, Truman, but the only guy I think that could make that throw is former Moose Jaw Miller Express, Nate Mensick.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably
You're right about that, yeah. Carter Roth takes the first pitch for a strike. Roth and Mensick played at the same university, not at the same time, but both Doane University products. Pritchard. Just wide goes Roth, and that would have scored Grudelaars. 0-2 here to Roth. You think about the amount of all-stars Doane University has lended the league. A lot's in the pitching department as well. If you think back, there was one year Moose Jaw had 3 Doane pitchers. They all made the all-star game. Pritchard, Roth fouls this one off, and it will go far enough. No play to be made for Uphold and right.
It feels like where this at-bat is at, and we see with that swing that this is going to be, a Carter Roth, it's a single. It's going to be a little hit somewhere and bring in a run if he can make contact. And he can make me look silly with something bigger, but it feels like that.
Roth chops this one over towards Daphne, and that's out number 2. That's the usual play that you'll see from Roth in a 2-strike count. And sometimes it can be effective, that not having the height on it to get over Daphne.
No, I think it just hung back a little bit more on it. It was able to, if he could get more on it, and it would float over Daphne there. But it's a pretty good second baseman. He didn't have to move far for that one.
Sure, the Mavs were hoping for a deeper sacrifice fly. Jaziel Grudelaars, he's got roller skates on his feet. He would have been easily able to score. And now it brings up Evan Morrison. 0-1 count. Pritchard starting him off with a strike. Morrison shoots that one just wide. I don't think he'll get that one again.
No, I don't think so. That was fair. That would have been extra bases pretty quick from the Med Hat product.
So now the trick for Morrison, be patient here against Pritchard. Pritchard just missing. Oh, that's razor thin on the outside half.
We saw him work that for a strike against Eric Calder early in this inning, and he's liking the outside, and we've seen a little bit of him working on the inside of Mavs hitters, but it's been the outside more so.
Morrison lines this one to short. Trevor Dale makes the play, and the Beavers hold on to the lead, but it's not by very much. The Mavs respond with 3 in the inning. Jaziel Grudelaars, a 2 RBI double to get the party started, and an extra to come in. But they still trail here at home in a pivotal game against the Beavers. And James, we've talked about the pitchers within this game so far. What does the leash look like for 2 guys that have thrown a lot of innings, especially when it comes to a game like this where you want them to go longer, but you have to preserve them for later on as well?
It is kind of tough because the Mavs are in the middle of a 9-game stretch, 7 more after today. I don't know exactly when Derek Archer's next start would line up, but it's going to be against a tough team. So it's balancing act right now for Ryan Reed of you need to win this game. You have to beat the Beavers, so you want to give him the runway and also save the bullpen as much as you can for tomorrow. But as you said, you're going to need him down the line sometime next week. So he's coming into this inning now with 54 pitches. It'd be nice if he could get some efficient innings out that we've seen of Archer from the past to get through this. And, then on the Weyburn side, if you're Cam Williams and, Josh Pritchard, he's also at 59 pitches in the 50 mark. So I think you just got to let them run as quick as they can and, see what they can do, how long he can go. We've seen Pritchard get up into the 90s. He threw 110 pitches against Okotoks on July 11th, so he can get up to the 100 there as well. And I think in this game, you just got to let your starters go till they can't.
And stamina, not a question for Pritchard, a former hockey and lacrosse player. In both those sports, you're going to run into physical contact. That's not really what happens here in baseball. But getting up and down the ice, or I guess the floor in lacrosse, much more demanding than being on the mound. Now, mentally, emotionally, the mound can probably present a few more challenges. But Archer and Pritchard, I guess in this case, both dealing with them well. Funny enough, to keep on the hockey theme, Derek Archer was talking about pregame. Julian Picorni mentioned he didn't know how to skate. Archer said, "I'll teach you. I love skating." So, Missouri guy and a Blues fan, loves the game of hockey. First pitch here from Archer, and it's one that's hit high over towards right field. Evan Morrison makes the catch for out one. James, that's what you were talking about.
That's pretty efficient there for Derek Archer. One pitch, one out, and you want to try to work as quickly as you can here now into the fifth inning and try to preserve that pitch count.
Now up to the plate comes the leadoff hitter, Hugh Montgomery. So top of the order here for the Beavers. They'll see the top of their order in back-to-back innings now. A strike there from Derek Archer. Sorry, a correction on that. I believe they saw them when they scored the 3 runs. They didn't see them last inning. It was just the Gurney part of the order, the lower half. Pitch will miss. Outside and low from Archer now. You question and wonder, when does fatigue set in? Because everybody's going to feel it at some point. Both these pitchers, as they continue, will keep a watch on them.
You would think Missouri would be humid. Like he would deal with the heat would be there for Derek Archer. He would be able to handle that at times, and that would play into what is tonight a warm night in Med-App.
It's got to be up around 36, 38.
It was 38 when I drove in.
Here's the 2-1 from Archer. Swing and a miss as he gets a strikeout to Montgomery. That's out number 2, and he inches closer and closer to that record set by Nathan Gonzalez with 70 strikeouts in a season.
He is 8 away from tying it, and that's a record that stood since 2010. So for Archer, that's it's interesting to talk to guys about what it means. They play here for a summer or two, and what it means to be in the record books. And I know Carter Roth was pretty emphatic about his excitement to be in the Mavs record books.
Noah Brooks chops the first pitch off. 1 for 2 tonight is Brooks, and really the hit that changed the game for the Beavers. It got the ball rolling and an RBI attached to it. It was his first hit of the season. Archer. Liking the pitch there was Grudelars. Brooks. A quick worker at the plate here. Archer, the 1-1 lands in time, and it's 1-2 now.
Kind of almost right down Main Street there. I don't know if Brooks was looking for something else, and Archer able to get a fastball by him.
A chance to get out of the inning here for Archer. He's not going to look too far ahead. Pitch ahead now. Brooks fouls it off, and it's into right foul territory.
It's the tough part about Noah Brooks, and we saw that his last at bat is 2 strikes really doesn't mean a whole lot. It's kind of like Carter Roth and the guy in the on-deck circle, Braden Mancourt. It's not out. You're not out of it till the final out or final strike is across.
Archer, deep breath here. 1-2 on the way to Brooks, and he's going to hold up. Take it now. It'll be 2-2. Mentioned Ryan Doffney, no playoff appearances. Brooks, even with playing somewhere else, did not qualify for the postseason with the Prospects when they were called that back in the day. So he's looking for his first berth as well. Archer felt good about it. You could see him tumbling off the mound, and instead it will be a 3-2 look for Brooks.
Just hasn't got that call, it seems like, in this at-bat, that close one. Had a good call in the first one. Grudelar is pulling it in, and now he's got to try to find another one.
Archer Brooks just fouls that off. One thing you'll always notice about Noah Brooks, eye black. Not every guy in the league wears it, but Brooks has throughout his career. And not sure if he's going for the J.J. Watt look or an intimidation look. Maybe he played football, but it's been a part of his game for a long time.
It's rare, actually. I don't know. Saw it a little bit with the Mavs last year. I don't know if we've seen it really at all this summer, the eye black.
Archer tries it again at 3-2 against Brooks, and he sends that one over the head of Volcano into left field. Adam Volcano is there to make a diving play, keep it ahead of his body, and so Brooks is limited to a single. A bigger play than most over there for Volcano. That could have been a lot more trouble.
It could have. I think Brooks was really pushing for the two bases there, and Adam Volcano able to slide over there and keep the Beaver at first.
They'll extend the inning. Weyburn will. Braden Mayencourt comes up. Such a key hit there for Brooks. You saw the 2-out rally before, and you get the harder your order again. Never a bad time for a 2-out rally, but it's easier to do when you have a guy like Mayencourt and Daphne to follow. Archer checks on Brooks at first. Brooks maybe not a known base stealer. If Ryan Musilar was on first, you'd really have to keep a watch. Archer fouling that off is Mayencourt. Hill stretching all the way towards the bullpen, and it's just out of his reach off the rubber. It looked like it went into the concession over there.
You could tell the way he was running, he thought he had a step on it and was going to get to it, and I think maybe, if he had a head start, he was able to get to that one, but just out of his reach.
He almost runs sideways when the ball goes up in the air, and it's an interesting approach, but almost effective. It's like doing a crossover in hockey, the way that Hill moves towards his right and our left.
Able to keep a better eye on the ball, I think, and track the path.
Archer, long pause, and Mayencourt up the middle, diving out Volcano. He blocks it. Roth left it there, and Volcano fired up, taps to his chest, and he's going to take that one. You never like to see a player miss a play that they feel like they have, and for Volcano in that case, a really tough play. Maybe he shouldn't put it on himself as much as he did.
It is. It's a tough one to range to the left like that, and he's able to stop it. And if you can't get an out, that's almost a bigger thing. It keeps Brooks from moving to third, and that's where a pass ball brings in a run. So not the out that they wanted, but able to keep things sort of at bay here with runners on first and second.
Archer now looks towards Ryan Daphne. Daphne swings at the first pitch, fouls it off. There have been a lot of 2-out rallies so far, or at least, chances that have started to percolate into that, and rallies with 2 strikes on the count. The way the Beavers have battled in the box has been impressive in this game.
They've done a really good job of hanging in there and, not looking past at bats that are when they're already down, and, that's a credit to why they're ahead right now.
Archer needs to stop the bleeding in this inning, or I guess not in this inning, but in this game a bit for the Mavs. You just don't want to get on a roll of giving up runs in consecutive innings. We talked about it before there was any runs scored, and he's a strike away from doing that, but a tough opponent here in Daphne. Archer back into his glove, quick peer over to second base. Archer on the way. Daphne just hangs around. Daphne will go for a quick stretch out here. The Beavers weren't sure if a lot of their guys who are here now would be back. Several question marks beginning the year. They just needed to survive to this point, put themselves in the mix, and they've done that, and now they get the big guys. And Daphne's played more games than their 2 newest acquisitions, but he's still fairly new to the season. Archer steps off, quick look towards Brooks. No throw there from Archer, probably the smart thing to do. Pitchers and throwing to second, usually those things don't go well together.
No, you have to have a pretty quick move there to try to get that runner at second, and then even so is just how accurate are you going to be twisting around.
Daphne is going to take that pitch. Yeah, it's like Coke and Mentos when you go over there. Things are bound to explode.
It's always a good science experiment in the summer, Coke and Mentos.
Maybe when you're 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that was kind of brash. One-two here from Archer. Back towards Daphne. Flies this one over towards left field. Good carry. All the way to the wall and gone! The Beavers, they do not stop. Ryan Daphne, the latest to go yard, and it's a 3-run home run into left field. And now the lead is 7-3. James, I'm almost stunned. Derek Archer has been so close, a pitch away on many occasions, and the Beavers, they bite.
Haven't really seen this from Derek Archer. It's the most runs he's given up this season. The previous high was 6 against Moose Jaw, and it's just a really good swing there from Ryan Daphne to take advantage of the Mavs not able to get out of this inning, and saw when the home run landed, Johnny Volcano put the hands on the heads, and it was going to be a tough play for him there, the previous hit, and he's going to really want that one back.
2 3-run innings for the Beavers, and Adam Volcano talked about it before the game today. We have to stop the big inning, and unfortunately, 3's not the biggest total that the Mavericks have given up, but it's large enough, and when you do that on 2 separate occasions, that's going to hurt you. Archer. 1-1, holding off at the plate is Colt Uphold. Disappointing evening for Derek Archer. The Mavs, ace on the mound. They felt good about it coming into today. It just has not gone their way so far. Now, they have shown in the past that when the game reaches the double-digit run totals that they can play, but at the same time, you're behind by 4, and your ace is, hasn't come out of the game. You haven't had to go to the bullpen as of yet, and I'm sure that's something the Mavs not fond of.
It's a part where now you need Derek Archer to grind. You need to see what he can get through and get outs. And, you're looking at this is the 5th inning to get out of this one first and then see what happens in the 6th as we see motion down in the Mavs bullpen.
It's Trevor Sire, who threw up 2 zeros in his last appearance at home in relief. This one is clubbed over towards left field, just a bit too far, and it will land foul for Uphold. It's another pitch that the Beavers are just all over, and I'm sure Archer's confused up there right now to what he can throw because they've been seeing him well.
That was the part, 79 pitches for Archer, so there's still gas in the tank, you would think, but it is also you have to look and see what the contacts that Weyburn's making, and they're able to do that right now against the Mavs ace.
2-2 from Archer. Ground ball over towards Volcano. Down to first, a higher throw towards Giacalone, and that will conclude the top half of our inning. But the Mavs, they surrender 3 with 2 outs again. It is Ryan Daphne, a 3-run home run into left field, and the Beavers lead by 4.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Josh Pritchard has the world in the palm of his hands right now. He's pitched a solid game. He still has given up 3 runs and the 6 hits, but his team is winning. They are up by 4. All he needs to do is just play conservative baseball at this point, not challenge anybody in too crazy of a spot, and he's done that against Nick Hill, 0-2 in this count.
Yeah, he's just got to try to put up a 0 here for the Beavers and, try to preserve this lead. And if you're the Mavs, you just want to try to chip away at this point of the game.
High pitch to Nick Hill, and you don't want to make too far of a statement or think too far ahead, but the Mavs have not dealt with adversity well, at least play-wise. They've had a tough time rallying in many games, and the start to this inning is going to look familiar to other potential innings that have come off of giving up runs. A quick out here via the pop-up. Good work by Pritchard again, forcing one of the Mavs' best hitters to make weak contact.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job of just getting guys to get under the ball and pop it up. We've seen it, I'd say, 3 or 4 times now and the Mavs put a big swing on it. It's just underneath it and really sends it high in the infield.
Here's Frankie Giacalone. The hit difference only one in this game. It has been when the hits have happened that have changed the score in this game, and I think the narrative around it too. Pitch misses outside here from Pritchard. Nobody warming up in the Beavers bullpen. Action, as we mentioned, on the Mavs side of things. Trevor Sire still getting going. Giacalone, second pitch, good enough for a strike. You think about Weyburn, a team that has not been in the playoffs in a long time, and you almost cheerlead for them at points. Of course, I know we're affiliated with the Mavs here, as Giacalone will get a new bat. Ryan Reed, wow. Okay, didn't know you had that in you.
I think it was already, I don't want to take credit away from Ryan Reed. I think it was already broken.
Hey, he hits the weight room.
Yeah, I believe it.
Mac, Ryan Reed in the weight room is a dangerous combination from what I hear from players and himself.
Sets the tone.
Giacalone, 1-1 here from Pritchard. Holds off, and it's going to be a ball back to what we were mentioning about Weyburn, a team that's been out of it. The league is better when Weyburn is good, and you hope that one of these years they get in, whether that's this year or next year, 10 years down the line, a bit too far. I hope they make it once before then. Giacalone, a swing and a miss. It's 2-1, but it's those small organizations, and then they get a chance to lift up their community. Going to a baseball game that's a playoff game is so much different, and for those communities, they come out to support, and they pack up their barns, and I can only imagine Tom Lang Park if the Beavers did get in. Pitch just misses. Pritchard was heading towards the dugout, but there's only one out in the inning.
I think he was really trying to strut that K, and little on the outside. We did see Giacalone swing at a similar pitch on the outside, the pitch prior, but able to hold back on that one and work the full count.
So full count to Giacalone. Sends a high one over towards right field. Uphold is going to get to it, and that is out number 2. Giacalone was hopeful that wind that is usually to that side would push it further. No wind tonight. It's been a weird year, James. I think every game last year those flags were moving. I mean, it's been hit and miss in 2026.
It has been, and I don't know why exactly. I don't have the weather maps or the answer to that, but it's just been different in that, it's been more humid at times, and I think that was a wet June, and we just haven't seen the wind flying as much.
I wish we could send it down to our lead meteorologist, but unfortunately, no organizations in the WCBL have one of those.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. Pritchard. High pitch to Volcano. Head shake to go along with it. And now it is 2-0. Volcano holds again. Takes. It's that spinning pitch on the outer half of the plate that the Mavs have not offered at. Oh, Pritchard, fastball right at the hands. I don't know the numbers, but that might be the hardest one of the night.
It is, and it's a hard combo to go with soft away and to spin it like that, and then to go hard inside with a fastball. It really jams guys up, and you saw that on that swing.
Volcano pokes this one foul. Year one, Johnny Volcano, he would have loved that pitch that was just thrown, but he probably would have swung and missed. Now Volcano, so much more contact-oriented. Speak of contact, here's a high one over towards right center. It's going to stay in play, and Montgomery will take out number 3 in the bottom of his glove. The Mavericks unable to respond. 3 up, 3 down. They trail by 4, and everything going Weyburn's way here through 5. Robert Gurney, always a solid WCBL player. He's been around the league with the Beavers and the Moose Jaw Miller Express. This year, he has struck gold, and maybe that's just with time. He's got a home run in this game already. He'll face Trevor Sire, another WCBL veteran. Spent 2024 with the Fort Mac Giants. Now he's here with the Medisnap Mavericks, and his love for the game at an all-time high. Committed Doane University next year, and he's excited to finish the summer here and then, of course, get to new ventures in Doane. Here's a ground ball to Nick Hill. Fields it right off the chest. High one to Giacalone, and that is out number one. An important out one. The Mavericks need to use their momentum defensively and then convert that to some offensive magic.
They do. A zero would be really important for them. Just gave up 7 runs across the 3 innings, right? Haven't had a break in the zero since the first 2 frames, and Sire's challenged with that.
Sire had a tough outing against Lethbridge, but it's been the way that he's responded that has been so impressive. Think about his last game as a bunt down here. Hill charging on, and it bloops over top of his glove. So on to first base will go Will CVA.
It was a really nice bunt, too. Just dropped it in kind of almost no man's land there, and it would have been really tough for Nick Hill to get in on that one.
So Sevier over on first base, and that will bring up Trevor Dale. Speaks to the Weyburn Beavers' depth. You have Trevor Dale hitting in the 8th spot, and maybe it's all strategic from Cam Williams, but Dale's an impressive player. Sire, stare down with Dale, takes for strike 1. First pitch strikes, working quickly. That is what Trevor Sire did in his last outing, and now he does it against another Trevor here. Thank goodness there's not someone who has the same last name on first base as Sire does on the mound. Grudelar's throw down over to Giacalone. The signal must have been there. I'm not sure how many people know, if it's just the 2, or if there's anybody watching that knows or has decoded it on their own.
I'm sure Nick Hill would know, maybe Jalen King, Ryan Reed, all the MacU guys, but it's something that the most important people know, and that is Grudelars and Giacalone.
Jackson Miller told me that he knows as another fellow MacU guy. Fouled off by Dale. Should stay in the stands, and a hot hopper. I think it missed the girl to our right. Fortunately, she seems to be okay. The guy in the blue shirt took the ball. Oh, he handed it off now. I was going to say. Trevor Sire will step off the mound here. My mom gave me good advice one time. She said, if you catch a foul ball at the game, keep a foul ball. I mean, you gotta have something to show that you brought it down. Now, if it bobbles or what, then it's a little different. Oh, that's a hard hit taken there by Trevor Dale as he moves towards first base. And that's not what I was talking about when a ball's hitting your direction. So Dale will be on 2 on 1 out here. Sire with the hit by pitch. It'll be Owen Mancourt.
And Dale shook that one off quick. If you're Sire, you see that he's all right and move on here, and just try to get out of this, with a pair of runners on, and try to get 2 outs here.
Sire has battled throughout his entire baseball career and overcome lots of adversity. This is minor to him. A couple of runners on the base path, okay. Trevor Sire's just got to trust himself right here because he's certainly capable. Sire gathers up, pitch on the way. This one hit high over towards left field. Johnny Volcano's going to range on. Adam Volcano behind him protecting. Volcano makes the grab. I think he thought about throwing it behind him originally and realized there was only 2 outs.
And it was called infield fly. I always, it was on the grass, but an infielder got it, so it's still infield fly, and it's a subjective call.
Well, there is a fine line out there. Sire. Two on, 1 out away, and he starts off with a strike. Funny you bring up infield fly. I brought up my mom before, and I'll give my dad some credit. We had a conversation a couple days ago. It's funny how things just come full circle about the infield fly rule and what designates something as an infield fly and what doesn't, what situation brings that on. And funny we get that right here a couple days later. Grudelar scampers down. He looked towards third base. I thought for a second he might have been able to make that throw. Instead, he'll hold off. It is 0-2. That's the fortunate part there for Grudelaars and Sire and the rest of the Mavericks.
That's why I like him hanging on to it there. Don't throw that one away. You can work out of this with one strike, and the runner doesn't even move from third. If you try to get the throw there and it goes wide, all of a sudden a run comes across.
Sire going to head back off the mound. Giacalone right back towards first base. Volcano is going to switch up his positioning as well over at short, a lot deeper than he was before. Sire, pitch slows down, and Grudelaars no chance to throw down to second base. It is a rare time where a player steals without a throw from Grudelaars.
And he just had no one to throw to. I think he wanted to. He was cocked and loaded, but just had no target.
So the out at second is taken out of play. 2 in scoring position for the Mavs. Sire, the 1-2, misses wide. Grudelaars a good scoop. He'll want a new ball out of this. 2-2 count. You feel for Trevor Sire. You need to get out of this. You cannot let the Beavers get any more runs in this game, at least till your offense starts rolling. But when that may be, who even knows? Sire, leg kick on the way, ground ball. Sire knocks it down, over towards first, underhand toss, in time for the out. Major stuff from Trevor Sire. He bears down, leaves 2 on for the Beavers. Nobody coming in to score. That's the first time we've been able to say that in 3 innings, James, and it feels like this has to be the turning point for Medicine Hat now offensively.
It is, and especially after you see how Trevor Sire works there, has the comebacker, is able to settle down and make the play. Now it's time for the offense to kind of pick it up and reward the pitcher there for a scoreless inning. And very quickly now we're into the 6th inning. There's a runway still here for the Mavs, but you need to get after it soon.
And we talked about the strength of schedule a couple of days ago on the broadcast. Don't have an updated one for you, but I can tell you Weyburn, out of the 4 teams that are kind of in the playoff mix, they do have the easiest path, and that is not me just making up a narrative. They play the most amount of teams that are below 500 and the least amount of teams that are above. So their path to the playoffs is pretty clear. Regina pretty close to them in terms of who they play, who's above and below. The Mavs, a much tougher jaunt, and you could say the same for Swift, who's now fallen almost 3 games behind pace, 4 depending on what team you're comparing them to. So it's a big shakeup. Surprisingly, though, for the Mavs, they're behind Weyburn in the standings. They're 5-1 against them this year. They have more wins than them, and I mean the run total is drastic. 73 more runs scored. It's almost shocking that the Mavs aren't not only ahead of Weyburn, but like significantly ahead of them. The stats say
it is, and that's Weyburn just, while they haven't scored a lot, able to take care of business in their games, and they have 3 on hand on the Mavs, so those will play crucial if they can, how many wins or they can pile up in those games and try to get some lead on the Mavericks.
Eric Calder begins the inning in a game that he's played pretty well in so far. He's been all over Josh Pritchard, and you can't say that about a lot of these Mavs batters tonight, but Calder comes in 2-2. His home stretch continues to just roar upward. It'll be an 0-1 look here. Pritchard to talk with the home plate umpire.
Yeah, Calder fouled that one pretty hard off Mancourt, so I think Brian Stair just giving him a bit of a breather behind the plate.
Mancourt looks to be doing okay. That's always a positive sign.
I think it was just similar to like Grudelaars in the first, wore it pretty heavy and just needed to catch his breath real quick.
First sign of life over in the Weyburn Beavers dugout. At least there's somebody walking over there. Maybe I'm jumping the gun on the call, but you think eventually if Pritchard, if he has a longer inning here, that the Beavers could be looking to move on and Cam Williams could be making the call to his right. 1-1 here between Calder and Pritchard. Calder fouls this one towards the dugout, and shading away are several Beavers.
And it does look like they sent a lefty down there to the bullpen for the Beavers, and it looks like it's Trey Watson.
A new addition, the newest member to join the Weyburn Beavers. Mentioned all the scuffling and roster changes, but in terms of arms, him and Brandon Berg have been the 2 new ones that have been added just before the deadline. Calder shades this towards left field, and I think almost predicting where that ball was heading before it had even gone up into the air was Noah Brooks. Brooks has seen a lot of baseball in his career, and he read that so well before it even got to the bat.
He did, and, for a lefty, there wasn't a lot of flair. It was almost a straight fly out there off the bat of Calder.
Adam Volcano, Jaziel Grudelars, Jalen King, the bottom of the order for the Mavs that has played pretty well today. It's been the top half where the Mavs have struggled. Pritchard taking on the first pitch is Adam Volcano. Yeah, the Mavs top of their lineup. They need to turn around their fortunes because they will not get a win in this game or many wins as the season goes on if those guys are not playing how they can.
And you wonder if, as Volcano takes a strike there, if it's just trying to do too much, trying to swing too hard. And, we're seeing that where they're getting under the ball and just popping it up.
Volcano swing and a miss. Well, that pitch was untouchable there from Josh Pritchard. Pritchard back to it. High 1-2 Volcano. Good eye.
Had to hang off that one. Thought it was maybe going to drop in more to the zone, and it doesn't, just a little high.
2-2 to Volcano. Swing and a miss, and behind on that from Pritchard. Slows him down to speed him up, and that's out number 2. What a start here from Josh Pritchard today. I mean, we could talk about it all day long. How we mentioned that with Archer before the game. What a year he's had. We can go on and on. But Josh Pritchard, in a game that the Beavers, I don't want to say need to win because they're obviously trailing or trying to stay alive, but in terms of separation with games in hand, you feel like this is almost a dagger in many ways. Low pitch here to Grudelars for ball 1.
It could be. It would definitely give them momentum in that playoff race and, a little bit of a head start on the Mavs down the final stretch.
Grudelars pop up over towards center field. Hugh Montgomery is there before the ball can land, and that is out number 3. Another 1-2-3 for Josh Pritchard. This Beavers pitching staff, they've gotten some great performances throughout the year from their starters. And Pritchard, not even named the ace of this rotation. That belongs to Logan Lynch. He's looking like he has ace stuff out there now as we are through 6 innings, the Beavers in command. Trevor Sire, gutsy finish to his last inning of work. Left 2 stranded for the Beavers. Worked back in an inning that, things probably not as smooth as he would have hoped, but he keeps his team in the game. And now his 2nd inning of work in a row. You can see the confidence just building pitch by pitch for Sire on the mound.
Yeah, that's important for him because he's going to get the heart here of the Beavers lineup, starting with Noah Brooks.
Brooks awaits the arrival of the 1-1 from Sire. High pitch, glove down there from Jaziel Grudelars. 2 for 3 tonight is Noah Brooks. Finally turned in a couple of hits in this game and hits in games this year. I mean, he only had 4 plate appearances, I think, coming into today. It was only a matter of time before he shined, and a big swing there. Sire blows that right past his bat.
It's a part, if you're Cam Williams, I don't know how you take him out of the lineup now moving forward. I think you have to have Noah Brooks in there, and at some point you'll keep Ryan Muselar in the game or in the lineup and just deepen things.
Sire launches, and good foul off there from Noah Brooks. Same story here for the Beavers. Foul off that, I guess, attempted a third strike. It's not that the Mavs have not attacked the zone. Free passes have been limited tonight. I think that's what we can commend both staffs on, is it doesn't become a long game. You don't see a lot of walks, and makes it more fun for everybody around. A spike there from Sire that's outside, and it's now a full count to Brooks.
Both teams' starters, Archer and Pritchard, have each given up a walk. That's it. Just two free passes on the night.
Pitching coach's dream. Sire, head nod, Grudelar's set up. Full count pitch to Brooks. He'll foul it off, step out of the batter's box, and readjust. Only gets harder from here on out for Sire, at least in the matchup with Brooks. But I think you could say with where the order goes after, with going to Maincourt and Daphne. Sire, Brooks into center field, and it's down for a base hit. Keep a close watch on it. King the throw in, and so it's a single to start off the inning for Noah Brooks as he battles in a count with Sire.
Yeah, if you're a Weyburn fan, this has to be, the heart pumping in a good way to see how this lineup's working right now, and it's still with Muselar in this lineup on the bench tonight, and if they're able to rock like this 2-3 foot, and with Hugh Montgomery leading things off, that bodes well for them down this stretch.
Sire, head tilt. Pitches high here to Braden Mancourt. And not a lot of chances to get two for the Mavericks in this game. There was some weak contact early on had by Derek Archer, but not a lot to follow since, and makes it a little bit harder. There's some hard contact right down the line, all the way over to the tarp for Mancourt. Brooks might be able to score. He's coming around third, and Noah Brooks will come in to score. It is an RBI double for Braden Mancourt. Make it 8-3 for the Beavers.
Yeah, for Mancourt, that's a really nice hit there, and just a part of more damage he's done tonight. Third hit, first double to compare singles earlier in this one, and second RBI on the night.
Trevor Sire, head tilt towards the sky. Ryan Reed will come out to have a chat. Miguel DeJesus is warming up. You talk about two guys who have found better results lately in DeJesus and Sire. Reed looks to be just cleaning off the mound again. Quick conversation. Maybe a bit of a delay there for Sire, giving him a little bit of time. And not sure if that's a coach just knowing his player and knowing what he needs, or an actual chat, but we'll quickly move back to things here. Ryan Daphne with a runner on, nobody out. Weyburn continuing to build. They're getting close to the double-digit mark, something they haven't gotten to very often this year.
Also wonder if the mound meeting is just, this is how to attack a hitter like Ryan Daphne, and passing that on to both Sire and Grudelars.
I don't know if there really is an answer to Daphne. He does so many things well. And the top of this Beavers order tonight is rolling. A bunt here from Daphne. Hill, underhand flip, and they're going to call safe at first base and say that Giacalone was off the bag. Questionable call. Giacalone having a conversation over there with the umpire, and Ryan Reed is going to come out of the dugout here. I was waiting for it to happen. Giacalone still arguing. You can see he's a bit confused to the call.
He did have to jump a little, so I wonder if just thought that he didn't get down in time, and I'm sure Ryan Reed's going to ask the same question.
Giacalone kind of giving the lay of the land here to Ryan Reed. See both guys getting in on the conversation. I wish I could read lips from up here, but it's so far.
It is.
As someone who already doesn't have the best vision, there's a reason I got glasses on, even if you can't see it.
It looks like the umpires are going to discuss, and I like this. You have two other umpires on the field, and different ones are watching plays elsewhere, but they don't like to make each other look bad. That's a part of it too. So it's hard to turn things over here without a replay.
And you can only assume that if the call is reversed, Cam Williams will be coming out to get an explanation. Safe is the official call. So Ryan Reed does not get his challenge to go. Not an official challenge. We don't have those in the WCBL, but Giacalone protesting at first base. Ryan Reed backing him up. Now 2 on with nobody out for the Beavers. A guy at third. I'm sure the Mavericks will take 2 outs and give up a run in a scenario like this. Sire. Quick check over towards first base. That sun now impacting first. Swing and a miss here from Colt Uphold.
And if you're Sire, you just have to keep attacking it. The plays haven't gone your way behind you, and you just have to focus on what you can control, and that's the batter at the plate right now.
Colt Uphold has made contact all 3 times tonight, but he's 0 for 3, so it's one of those nights. A quick throw down to first there. Giacalone fell over. That was quick moving from Trevor Sire. He got the ball back, and it was almost immediately in Giacalone's direction. I wonder if that haze out there maybe helps first base as well. Just calms down the sun just enough to see the ball a bit better. Sire. This one's sent over towards Carter Roth. He's backing up, maybe looking to play off of it a bit, and the runner will not move over from third base. It would have been a tight play on that side for Mancourt. Not the speediest runner on the team is Mancourt. I think Roth maybe got him to question initially, looking to do a little bit of acting, show that it might be shallow, but it trended all the way into right field and the neutral part of it.
It did, and that would have been tough with the throw up the line like that if Mancourt would have had to get past Grudeliers and just held off smartly.
So Trevor Sire, another mound meeting here between him and Ryan Reed, and I think this might be it. Sire has put his team in a position to try and get out of this inning, and you can see the frustration there from Sire. I don't know, you can be frustrated with giving up a run in the scenario that you're in now, but you battle back and you have a chance to set up a double play here if you're Miguel De Jesus, and in the past, he's been able to generate ground balls.
It is, and it's a new look, against Weyburn here in this inning, and I think Trevor Sire did a really good job of just getting the contact and nothing too hard other than maybe the liner the hit down the line there to get the run in this inning from the Beavers, but now the Mavs look to De Jesus to try to get out of this jam.
And I know we've beaten this narrative or this headline into an abyss, but mentioned Musilar and Noah Brooks being added, and here's the official numbers for the two since they've been in the WCBL. Musilar the extra year, 157 hits throughout his, I guess it's a 4-year career now that he re-enters, 70 RBIs, and the stolen base total is great as well. I believe he had 21 in his first season in the WCBL, so close to the 40 mark career-wise for Noah Brooks, 85 hits, and I know it says record and not RBIs. My apologies, but 45 RBIs on the career for Noah Brooks, who's a pretty good power hitter as well. Might not hit 10 home runs in a summer collegiate season, but he's always going to be in the mix and always be near the top of whatever team he's playing on.
They're 2 key additions to this Beavers lineup, and we've seen Noah Brooks perform tonight on a high level, and to have weapons like that to come in mid-season, late season, and to be able to add a jolt to the lineup does a lot for a team, and as we've seen tonight, it can do a lot for the Beavers.
So Miguel De Jesus comes in, you could say he's not defending a 5-run lead, but at the same time, he's defending it from getting even worse, at least from the Mavericks side of things. And De Jesus, the question was when he got here to Medicine, would the control be there? He's figured it out, and he's gotten some positive results. Now, the moment is different in this scenario. You don't want to let Weyburn get any more runners here. You need to close this inning out and keep it at bay. So for De Jesus, does the control change when the pressure ramps up? We'll obviously have to see.
It's a good test for the Mavs and for De Jesus, for the stretch run here, and if they can get into the playoffs, so how he can handle a moment like this and be kind of a fireman in that bullpen.
So Grudeliers steps back behind the plate. Gurney steps up to it. Miguel De Jesus. Key moment here in the 7th inning with 2 on. His team trailing, I don't want to say big yet, but it's getting there. First pitch here to Gurney is going to miss wide for De Jesus. Nobody warming up in the bullpen behind DeJesus. It was kind of a quick shuffling for the Mavs. Sire got up when Archer was ready. DeJesus when Sire got up originally, and now they're going to leave it blank. So maybe this inning and the next for DeJesus. DeJesus, low pitch here to Robert Gurney. Mavs they really need a double play in this scenario. I know that's greedy, but just plays too well into this game. If not, it's Weyburn's for the taking. DeJesus gets the call for a strike. Gurney, maybe not a fan of it, but a 2-1 count, or 2-0 count, you got to expect that it could turn 2-1.
Yeah, and we saw Gurney, obviously, the home run in this game, so a tough guy maybe to turn for 2 here, but it would be the dream for the Mavs here to keep this inning at 1.
DeJesus, pop up here. Grudelar's all the way to the netting. We'll travel a little bit further, and that's not a scary boom where it's right on top of us, but we could hear it in the background. It's like a door shutting 3 halls over. Hopefully everybody's okay on that side.
Looks like I don't see anyone scrambling around.
DeJesus. Lean over on the mound. Now back to the 2-2 look with Gurney. Will Sevier over on deck. Gurney swinging a foul off. It's just too predictable for Weyburn. All of their at-bats have been the same tonight. And I mean that in obviously a positive way, depending on who you're rooting for and where you're watching.
It's just been consistency, and that's just consistent fighting off pitches and staying alive and doing damage when they get the chance.
DeJesus, subtle head nod. And Gurney, did he hold off? They're going to check down to first. That one was really close.
It was. He did a good job of holding off just enough to stay alive in this count and force the full count.
So full count to DeJesus, or full count to Gurney via DeJesus. DeJesus, long lean runner going to go. Ground ball towards Nick Hill, under his glove and in for a base hit. And a key moment for Robert Gurney. Mentioned that prior. It is now a 9-3 ball game, 2 on for the Beavers. And some questioning going on over at second base here.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens here. Dauphiny running into Carter Roth as he's turning second, and it looks like they're going to give Dauphiny third base. It didn't look like he was going to get there on where the play is, and I think Ryan Reed's going to go out and ask the same question.
That's an interesting rule because it could go either way. Obviously, there's no play really to be made on Dauphiny there. Otherwise, you could probably contest the opposite that, maybe Dauphiny made contact with Roth while he was trying to get an out. I just didn't get enough of an eye on it. It was such a split-second play.
It was Roth was standing about where he is, maybe a little bit more towards left, and Dauphiny runs into him because he had eyes on the ball, but just... I don't know how Dauphiny was going to get to third on that play, and for them to get like a runner interference call or defender interference, however you want to word it, I'm a little surprised.
It's a long conversation and an animated one. Tensions are high in this game, and Weyburn, they're coming off a loss in their last game against Regina. That can't feel good, chasing them in the playoffs as well. And but for Medicine Hat, this has been a long stretch of... I don't want to put it this way, but bad baseball. I mean, they lost 5 in a row at one point. They got the win back against Swift, and then they lose to Moose Jaw, which every team's losing to Moose Jaw right now. That one you can kind of push to the side. But when things start to ramp up and there's more stress and pressure obviously put on, decisions can be frantic, and I commend the way that Ryan Reed handled himself, even as a young coach in that scenario. It could have been a lot worse. There's other coaches around the league that I'm sure it may have been more heated if they were in this scenario. DeJesus, a bouncer. Grudelar's lost it. Run in to score. It is now a 10-3 ball game. Wow. Two 2-0 count now at the plate for Will Sevier, and just a spiked ball by Miguel de Jesus.
It's a tough one, and that's that interference call coming into play here, and it gives Weyburn a run.
The Mavs look to be warming up Jackson Miller in the bullpen. So I would guess that Miguel de Jesus is going to get the rest of this inning depending on what happens. Unless it gets really crazy. Here's a long one all the way out towards right field at the wall and gone. Another home run for the Beavers. This time it's Will Sevier who goes far, and it is a 12-3 Beavers lead.
It's amazing how things can spiral, and a couple plays go the wrong way, a couple calls go the wrong way, and all of a sudden now it's a 9-run lead for the Beavers, and they've done a good job of just consistently attacking and staying in at bats, and it's paid off for them.
How about that, Weyburn? I'm not sure how much of an uproar there is in Weyburn at the moment as there's a regular season game, but as they get closer and closer, that energy is going to build, and this is just one piece to the puzzle, and you have to be excited if you're a Weyburn Beaver fan and player and community member that things are getting really close to being special, and they're really close to getting out of a jam. Here's another far one over towards left field, and that one's going to hop at the base of the wall. A far bounce, and taking second base, thinking about third base, and now trying to take third. Volcano the throw to Hill. In time there is Trevor Dale, and just heads up base running for Dale. He saw that things were getting a bit tardy in the outfield and decided to capitalize on an awkward bounce and some slow play after.
He did, and that's just that continued aggressiveness from the Beavers, and it puts them in a good spot here. Still with only one out in the 7th inning now. A sac fly, a wild pitch, it scores another run.
This inning's in molasses right now. Quicksand. I mean, you can come up with anything that is slow moving, and there's a strike from De Jesus. For a game that was kind of just blowing by, we've reached a pausing point here in the 7th. De Jesus. And the Beavers just cannot stop hitting. There's another. It's Owen Maincourt with an RBI single as he's off to first base. And now Ryan Reed already out of the dugout before the ball even reached the mound. Looks like De Jesus' day will be done. So Ryan Reed calling on to his bullpen once again, and now a 13-3 ball game here on Flow Sports. Jackson Miller will come into the game with 1 out, so 3 pitchers used in the top of the 7th for the Mavs. Trevor Sire to Miguel De Jesus, now to Jackson Miller. 1 on still for the Beavers, and pitch will miss outside for Miller. It has been just one of those days for Weyburn. They've made it all happen. They're seeing the ball well, and when the pressure has been put on their group to try and get over the hump or get close to it, they've succeeded, and they've taken it into their own hands, controlled what they've had to control, and they've converted.
They've done a really good job here tonight. When they have the chance, they've ran with it. And coming into tonight's game, it was the Mavs who had won or are winning and have won the season series, but only 1 win for Weyburn against Medicine Hat, and they're well on their way for a second.
Miller sent over towards left field. Play is made by Adam Volcano for out number 2, and the fans give a cheer. It's been a little while since we've seen an out. And, oftentimes I think the Mavs have experienced this. Not meant to be an insult, but the lights are brighter than you expect, and you put a lot of pressure on yourself. And sometimes you make the lights brighter than they appear. And you got to feel that in some ways the Mavericks have experienced some of that. But yeah, it's not.
Had a hard time stopping, once the ball gets rolling downhill for the other team, had a hard time stopping that. And, it's not easy to do, and it's been a struggle at times.
The Mavs have, I believe, only 7 home wins this season. They surpassed that total in the first 8 games of last year. 0-1 here from Jackson Miller. Low pitch, holding off is Noah Brooks. What a fantastic night it has been for Noah Brooks. You hope that when superstars come to town, big-time players, that they perform to their standard, and Brooks has done that. I mean, it's just phenomenal to watch him play ball and swing the bat. Outside here from Miller. Brooks quite patient again. Miller, quick head nod, and Brooks. That one nearly scraped the top of the netting, and instead it's going to land in the food truck lineup.
There's few midseason additions, Truman, and maybe you have some off the top of your head. Like the talent that Noah Brooks has and what he brings to this Beavers lineup, it's kind of unmatched of what a team's been able to add, towards the end of the summer.
Well, 2 years in a row it's been Muselar for the Beavers, who they've added late into the year. They actually lost Noah Brooks last year. Oh, Brooks takes that on the hand, and he's frustrated right now. Yeah, Brooks, he just gets back and rejoins Weyburn, and then he gets one right on the knuckle. Maybe they're not giving him the call here. I'd be curious to see. I think they are, just judging on that he's heading
I think they're
near
calling
first.
it foul.
Oh, they're saying that, yeah, that's a
I wonder, because they haven't moved the runner from first.
I really believe that hit his knuckle. You don't react that way and put on an act like that if you don't get hit.
No.
Now, if it hits
The bat
knob
and
then the hand, of course, it's considered a foul.
And, yeah, he'll get his base.
And I believe that's the right call. Brooks getting his justice as he's off to first. But you mentioned late season ads, and teams doing that all over the WCBL. Over the last couple of years, there's effective ones, and there are ones you see the name and you go, oh my goodness, I can't believe he's been added. Anthony Gilbert, the former batting title winner, being added to Sylvan Lake last year. I remember seeing that and going, oh, is that ever a needle mover? And they had Kyle Frolick this year, who was nearly the ERA title winner, was a few innings away. That was in 24. They got a guy who's got ace stuff back to their roster. That's another one you look at and go, yeah, that will change things for a team. So Miller hits Brooks. He's off to first base. Beer batter up to the plate. And actually, there's been a switch here as the ball gets by Jaziel Grudelars.
It's Nick Miller now in for the Beavers, so it's Miller on Miller time.
Oh,
and the beer batter.
Oh, yeah, very fitting. I guess both players living the high life in this scenario here. That was really bad, but I had to.
That was good. Could say it's Miller time.
You could. So Nick Miller. There's no relation, by the way. Let's get that out of the way. There's everybody. I know there's someone questioning at home. Are they related? Nope. Jackson Miller. Long leg kick. Nick Miller sliding with his legs as well. It'll be ball 2. So Jackson Miller's from Oklahoma City. I know that much. As far as Nick Miller goes, he's from Frisco, Texas. So, you know, down south, but not the same spot. I'm sure very hot this time of year, both locations. Ooh, good job by Grudelars. Belly flopping to make the play.
I've already seen one wild pitch of this at-bat from Jackson Miller, and you know, it's one thing you got to find the strike zone here to stay in this at-bat, but don't want to send runners moving with another wild pitch.
Miller twisted there, thought about swinging. It must have been his pitch if he was willing to go the distance. Nick Miller, a twirl of the bat. Now here comes Jackson with the pitch, and it'll be low and a base taken by Nick Miller here. Anybody put a timer on the 7th inning? Feel like we got here when the sun was just rising, and now it's going down. Here's Ryan Doffney, bases loaded. Already a home run in this game, a 3-run shot. That felt like it was the turning point, at least score-wise and probably momentum-wise as well for the Beavers. Miller. Pitch misses again. The zone has not been a friend to Jackson Miller here. Doffney. Bat to shoulder. Lots of action in the Mavs bullpen here. Looks like just one guy warming up, but a couple standing around. And again, Jackson Miller unable to find the strike zone. Jaziel Grudelars will have a conversation with him.
I don't know what's, pass ball is not great for a pitcher, but, a bases loaded walk is just as, insulting at times, or it just hurts, right? You're losing control on both, but to walk a guy and bring in a run is tough. And if you're Jackson Miller, you got 2 outs here. You really want to try to work that and get these bats, first of all, off their feet from the defense, and then at the plate here to try to chip away at this 10-run deficit.
Doffney. Longer wait in between pitches. Grudelars maybe trying to freeze the at-bat as well, and the Beavers' momentum fouled off here. You can see Nick Miller, he's all the way down over at second base. He thought it was gone, and tough to judge off the bat at times. And when it's Ryan Doffney, I'm sure you feel like every pitch is out of the park.
Yeah, he's really running on contact. He wants to move, and I think he really wants to score.
Miller. 2-1 look here to Doffney. Bases loaded behind him. Doffney pops this one up. There haven't been a lot of plays that Frankie Giacalone has been able to run after. A couple in the early innings, but usually we see him on his feet, moving fast down into foul territory. There just has not been a lot of opportunities tonight.
No, nothing too close. And, maybe that's given him, he's got extra energy here for these late innings now, or these later innings.
Well, this inning might put him to sleep with how long it has gone. It's a full day's workout there, 9 to 5. Miller, jam shot. Nick Hill goes to second base, and that is the 3rd out that the Mavs desired here late in this inning. 6 runs for the Weyburn Beavers. They're up by 10 here on the road. First game of a 2-game set between these two, and the Beavers, they are alive, and they are playing well. Jalen King swings at the first pitch he sees, and it's into left field for a base hit. Good for Jalen King. You know, I believe he went into Calgary, flew up there, so no jet lag, drove down the next day, got in a Moose Jaw, played a ball game, came back here. Doesn't really know much about Canada. It's his first time up here playing baseball, and yeah, he's gotten into the flow pretty well. Tip of the cap over to Jalen King. This has been an impressive last couple of days.
It has been, and I guess they retroactively changed his first, what we thought was his first hit as an error now, and that is his first WCBL hit.
I'm glad he got his due there as well. We talked about Noah Brooks getting hit on the hand. That's one part of it. Jalen King, deserved a hit. There's one that drops below. Roth, no swing. He also, and I know I'm biased, but he's got the best walk-up song I've heard yet. Nobody else has used Lil Uzi Vert in their walk-up song, and it's a deeper cut off the album. But, talk about music forever. We'll keep it to baseball here and listen to the sounds of bat to ball and obviously bat to ball to glove as well. Roth lets that one touch the back of Mayencourt's glove for a ball. Pitch high into the zone for Roth. 2-2 now with King over at first base. Roth pokes this one over towards right field. Could be trouble for the Beavers. And tracking it down and making the play is Colt Uphold. Man, that spent a whole evening with the clouds in the sky and finally reached Uphold.
That's a really nice run there from Uphold to get to that one, and I thought it was going to drop. It looked destined for it, and he's able to leg it out and get that out.
There's just so much swagger in a swing like that for Carter Roth. The swing path or the way that he gets to the ball might not be the prettiest, but there's something charming about a swing like that when it gets in.
He does a good job throwing the head of the bat out there and making contact, and it doesn't result in a hit, as we've seen a couple times tonight, but he's still able to make contact.
Morrison, 1-1 here against Joshua Pritchard. Finally, the warming up has increased on the right-hand side for the Weyburn Beavers, but I don't want Josh Pritchard to leave this game. He's been a thrill to watch. Strike there to Morrison. He would argue against that.
He's getting inside-outside strikes on Morrison right now. He's not too happy with it.
He's just playing in the sand out there. Pritchard, Morrison flinched, and after the inside pitch before, it's harder to lay off. A good job by Morrison to stay put.
Yeah, I wondered where that one was going to go, and I think it was maybe a bit low as well as inside, and it was able to be a ball.
Morrison fouled that one off of his leg. Surprised he didn't move. That looked like direct contact.
I think it caught maybe more of Mayencourt than it did him.
Yeah, Mayencourt is taking a beating back there tonight. Sure satisfied when he looks to his left and sees the scoreboard, and the sting obviously lessened. Morrison a swing and a miss as he strikes out and heads back to the dugout. 2 down now for the Mavs. Nick Hill approaching the plate. So Jalen King, he's had a holiday over at first base. Not a lot of movement. And now Jackson Henderson's going to come out of the bullpen here, or the dugout rather, look over to the bullpen. I think he'll have a few quick words with Josh Pritchard. Probably ask him, how's the arm feeling? Are you fatigued yet? And my guess is Pritchard's going to say, let me have the last one. Who doesn't want to go out on top?
Yeah, he's up over 90 pitches now, so he's been working. And as you said, want to try to end it here in the 7th. If you're Pritchard, and work all 7.
Nick Hill's getting impatient. He's going to go right to the batter's box. Get set ahead of time, put a little pressure on Weyburn. Oh, and that's pretty unique there. You always see teams kind of huddle up and talk after, but, almost a group hug up there on the mound congratulating Pritchard. He still has to get one more, but the day already has been impressive. And, I'm sure all the Weyburn infielders, outfielders, players on the bench, staff members, they're just happy to be in this spot and happy with what Pritchard has provided. Here's Hill, a swing and a miss. Gross stuff on the mound from Pritchard. Pritchard catches the side of the zone. Nick Hill not thrilled with the call. And two completely different sets of emotions right now. The Mavericks, I'm sure, some fatigue, some frustration, obviously, disappointment, and Weyburn, bonding together and feeling this moment as a core.
It's how those two emotions and how you choose to build off them into the next game of, if you're Weyburn, don't get too high, and that's any team with a win. And the Mavs, you just have to be able to respond and, shake off what's looking like it's going to be a loss here.
And Weyburn has just remained in the moment, and that's why they've been effective in lots of ways. Here's the 2-2 to Hill. He sends this one over towards center field, but Hugh Montgomery, he'll patrol and barely make the grab down there. Looked like he was trying to catch a football and stay in line, and rather he was on his back by the end of it. An interesting play, recliner-like from Montgomery, as Josh Pritchard looks like his day is over, and what a day it was, filing through the Mavericks batters and making it look really easy. Soft contact, strikeouts, no walks. I mean, it's a pitcher's delight.
Yeah, he did it really well, and as you said, limiting soft contact, and other than the 3-run inning, he did a really good job of keeping the Mavs at bay and giving his team a chance to run it up.
And while we have a chance, we might as well take a look around the WCBL. We haven't done our around the horn look so far today at what is going on. A massive shocker, obviously. We'll start with Over Swift Current earlier today.
Yeah.
If you saw that coming, wave your hand up in the air, and I don't see any hands up. One, because we're in a broadcast booth, but two, because nobody thought that the 57s were going to come away with a game against the Miller Express.
Yeah, first of a doubleheader between the Millers and 57s, and Swift Current takes it 13-9, and it snaps the 14-game win streak for the Moose Jaw Miller Express, the franchise record in a win streak for them. And in the second game, top of the third right now, Moose Jaw leads 2-0, and staying in the East Division, Regina with a 1-0 lead over Fort McMurray in the top of the ninth. Saskatoon's in Sylvan Lake, and they're weather delayed in the fourth inning. The Berries lead the Gulls 5-2. Game already done in Energy City. They beat the Lethbridge Bulls 12-8. And the final game, if I can find it, there it is Brooks leads the Okotoks Dogs 8-7 in the bottom of the sixth. That's a big
That
win
is
for Brooks.
wild.
Big effort for Brooks right now as they try to get a win and get into that playoff battle there. They sit 5.5 games back of Energy City for the fourth spot in the division, and Energy City, as you said, has a lot of games they have to make up. I actually believe 2 of them are against Brooks Truman. I could be wrong, but I know there's at least 2.
You are right, yeah.
I am right, yeah. So there's there's some runway here in these playoff runs.
And an update on the Sylvan game if you're interested in watching that after this one. You mentioned weather delay, isolated thunderstorms. I believe that they are going to return to action at some point. Obviously, Sylvan, a beautiful facility, but it looks like they will get back to playing ball. And with so many games being canceled, you need to get it in on the night that it was meant to be played on.
Looks like they're going to resume in about 15 minutes in Sylvan Lake.
So good to hear that game's going to be into full action. 2-0 count here as we are back to the action at Athletic Park in Medicine Hat. A runaway lead for the Beavers so far, 13-3. Jackson Miller out on the mound, second inning of work, not second full inning, but he'll check in the 8th here against Colt Uphold.
I don't know, Truman, if it's because it's getting darker out, but it looks hazier right now, and maybe it is just because the sun is casting away.
Oh. Uphold, that got a chunk of his elbow, and I think it hit the bat first. So,
and on the swing, if you're into a swing and get hit, it is a tough lineup. Sometimes it's a hit by pitch, and sometimes it's a swing, and it looks like that's what that was.
2-2 from Miller. Swing and a miss, off speed, drops down from a cloud and gets Uphold.
Yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable. You get hit on the previous pitch, kind of inside, and then another one drops in on the inside, and just couldn't get to that one, and a strikeout for Miller.
Well, and it removes your focus even. You're still, probably bothered by the sting, and Miller took advantage of it, putting one high zone and generating that swing. a pulled down and 1 down in the inning. We'll bring up Robert Gurney. I assume we're going to see a couple more changes for rest reasons here for the Beavers. Maybe a few guys coming in off the bench. Already saw Nick Miller come into the game. Here's a fly ball to right field, charging onto it, and it's going to end fair. Morrison unable to make the play. So Robert Gurney reaches on what we thought Carter Roth's hit was going to, or not hit, was going to turn into, and instead it's a hit for Gurney here with a similar bloop.
Yeah, and Morrison was charging in that one. He was kicking it up into 5th and 6th gear and just wasn't able to get it there. Perfectly placed by Robert Gurney into the right field spot.
Miller now works with 1 on. Looking to see who's over in the bullpen. I see Jamel Chabot down there. At least I believe it's Chabot. But he's just hanging out as ball hit in over to right field. Morrison gunning it over the head of Volcano. Maybe more of a frustration throw than anything from Morrison there, who, the cutoff man was Volcano the whole way. No threat of a guy going towards third base. And I think Nick Hill was even caught off guard by the ball running his way.
Yeah, there was a lot on that throw there from Evan Morrison.
I hadn't even pondered this till right now, but the Weyburn Beavers are in the mercy zone. They're already up by 10. They can get as many more runs here as they would like, but the Mavericks in the next inning will have to score or else the game will be over. Miller, smooth stroke into left field, and it's caught by Adam Volcano. A great play by Volcano. Love the swing off the bat, at least the look from Trevor Dale, who one of the nicer swings, visually appealing, I guess I would say, swing-wise for Dale, but Volcano making a good play.
That was a nice grab, and that saves a run from crossing as it would have happened. The Weyburn would have scored there, and it gives the Mavs now 2 outs here. As you said, they're trying to preserve what is a 10-run deficit in that mercy rule.
So Owen Mayencourt heads to the plate. Jackson Miller. Long look, slow leg kick, and just missing there was Mayencourt. You could see him turning to the side going, ooh, that was the one. Umpire waiting on Mayencourt to get set. He is. Miller. Pitch on the way. Outside is the call. Side note here, James. I don't want to skip through a 2-out situation with 2 on. Just a side question for people who may have listened before. Did you ever figure out that game I put you on last time?
I did. It took a while.
Maybe we'll return to it in the break. Miller. This one skied over towards left field. Adam Volcano running all the way back to the fence, jumping up, and it is gone. Owen Mayencourt a 3-run home run, and it is now 16-3 in the Beavers' favor.
It's a good swing there from Owen Mayencourt, and we had a single earlier in the game through the left side, and he likes to pull it and did a good job of that one there. And I think that's three home runs from the Beavers, at least 2 for sure. And they've the offense has been firing on all cylinders for the Beavers tonight.
So now that mercy rule we mentioned, well, the Mavericks would have to score 4 in the bottom half. So a likely, I guess, shortened game tonight. I think the fans will have mixed reviews on that. You come to a ball game, you want to stay the whole time, but the Medicine Stampede and exhibition happening, so they may make their way over to the other side of town. An exciting time to be in Medicine Hat right now, despite that, the Mavericks haven't had the results that they would have liked. They're in a playoff push, so people still coming out and supporting and wanting to be there for the ride. Here's a ground ball up the middle off the shoelace of Miller, and it's a single now for Hugh Montgomery. And the hits continue to play here for the Weyburn Beavers. They're now up to 20 on the night. Ryan Reed will head out of the dugout, and I'm not sure if this is to calm down Jackson Miller or take him out of the game. And it looks like Miller's day is done. So a new body headed to the mound for the Mavericks will return with a name, some numbers, and everything else you need to know. 2 outs and a new pitcher on the mound. So lots to talk about. It is Adam Wilmore, the Doane University product. And first pitch, oh my goodness, that would have been one of the craziest occurrences I think I've ever seen in a baseball game. Off the knob, and it was nearly a hit down to first.
It was close. It danced the line.
Reminds me of a clip from years ago. It was a fixed clip of Ichiro Suzuki bunting, and then someone flipped to a home run clip and it went over the fence. I mean, that's just about as close as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Strike here from Wilmore. So Doane University mentioned Carter Roth, and the Volcanoes obviously played with him. He's made his way up north, and he is a tall dude, towering on the mound, and I mean, scary for opposing hitters to look up that way. In and out of the hand, and went off speed there, did Wilmore. He did not pitch at University this year. More of a hitter. He's a two-way guy, but Carter Roth and the Volcanoes vouched. They said he's a guy who can log a lot of innings, and that's obviously important in this league. This one's sent high over towards center field. Jalen King is going to watch it, and that will do it. A much quicker top of the 8th inning, but the Beavers, they said, why not? Let's add to the total. 16-3 here at Athletic Park. And mention trivia. We won't go back to the same game from before, but James, you want a little trivia here during the break to, I guess brighten the mood for some of those who have not enjoyed watching this ball game?
I'll try.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, some chaos going on behind us here, and we might have another visitor for trivia. Okay. James, can you name the last 5 World Series champions in order and the World Series MVPs in said championships?
I don't know if I could do MVPs. Well, dude, what a scumbag question.
You can't say that on air.
I can't. Sorry, Trim. Well, the last one was the Dodgers, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto was the MVP.
Yes.
Just ask a Blue Jays fan. That's tough.
Well,
2025. Oh, it was the Dodgers again.
Who'd they play?
New York.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, good. Was Ohtani not the MVP? No. Was Freddie Freeman the MVP in that one?
He was. So you're 2 for 2.
2024 was the Texas Rangers.
Yes, it was.
And they beat the Arizona Diamondbacks. And their MVP, was it not Corey Seager?
It was Corey Seager. Look at this. 3 for 3, James.
2023 was the Houston Astros.
It was. This is a tough one. Good player, but
is it Yordan Alvarez?
I don't believe so. I will double check for you, but I don't believe it. I think he won the
ALCS.
Yes.
Maybe it was Kyle Tucker. No, I don't think it was Kyle Tucker.
It was not Kyle Tucker.
Remember who it was. Did better than I thought I would so far. 2023.
This is a good role for you, though.
Who is the MVP?
I believe it was Jeremy Pena.
Oh, I think
who
you're
was
right.
the MVP. He's had a pretty good career ever since.
I was wrong. 2023 was the Texas Rangers win.
Oh, so we skipped a year. Who did we snub?
I mixed.
The Dodgers. Well, we got their 2.
Yeah, 2024, 25. Oh, I was just agreeing with you. Let's do the Mavs game now.
So James cannot complete our challenge tonight. Here's Frankie Giacalone, who's hoping his Padres at some point get to the promised land. But, they were obviously stunned by the Dodgers many times throughout the playoffs, which several teams can say. But the Padres, not a great year this year. I'm sure they could use Frankie Giacalone, the power missing in those Padres lineups that they've rolled out this year. Giacalone takes for a ball. Mayencourt wanted to let that one hold a bit longer.
Yeah, and the Mavs face a new arm here. It's Trey Watson coming from the left side, and the Mavs need runs here. They need 4 to keep this game alive.
Trey Watson. We'll see what the lefty's all about in his WCBL debut. Giacalone, not a fan of the call there. Watson from Brentwood, Missouri. So Missouri well represented today. I think that's been the most talked about location on the broadcast. If anybody's keeping tabs at home, I guess you would know. Spent his year at Central Baptist College, another one of several places that add a lot of talent to the WCBL. Giacalone ground ball to third, a whipping throw over to first in time. That'll be out number 1 as it's Will Sevier with the delivery. So CVA on the throw.
Might not be Trey Watson, Truman. Trey Watson's 18. This is number 16 on the mounds.
Ooh, tough.
And the
Tough
Beavers,
to see the difference.
Beavers have 3 16s on their roster I have in front of me.
And I'm looking at the same thing. Well, Maddock Day is a starter, so I know it's not him. We watched him pitch here. He's a right-hander.
Ben Foreman.
Well, Ben Foreman, University of Calgary, I thought he was a right-handed pitcher, but I could be wrong about that. Regardless, Volcano, busy inning for CVA over at third base. He'll throw it down, and Gurney with the connection at first. That's out number 2. The Mavs now down to their final out here in this game. And I can tell you this much, James, 1 swing does not count for 4 runs, unfortunately, in the Mavs case.
No.
And Eric Calder, who, out of all the players on the Mavs tonight, there's been a lot of performances that have been lackluster, at least to these guys' standards. Eric Calder, you can't say the same about him. He has been excellent again.
No, he's had a good night, and I will say he is facing Ben Foreman to get the answer on that. He is a lefty out of Penticton, BC, so it's tough for Calder right now to keep this game alive and to go left on left.
Penticton, of course, home to the Penticton V's, a hockey team that joined the WHL this year and had a miracle run in their first season. I believe they made it all the way to the conference finals in the West.
Set the league or CHL record for wins by an expansion roster.
A guy who pitched at the University of Calgary this year. Funny enough, the Penticton V's commentator actually used to work at the University of Calgary, so Penticton and Calgary connected in more ways than one. Good dude. Shout out to Riley Pollock. Great voice in the Western Hockey League. Calder. 1-2 count. Foreman looking to close the game down with one more strike. Pitch is in the dirt. So now it's 2-2 to Calder. The Mavs will fall now a game and a half back once Weyburn is able to close this thing out. And obviously, there's always ifs, but it's a 13-run ball game. I think we're past the point of, not going all the way with what has happened here. Foreman. Another low pitch to Calder.
I do think, and I don't know the math, Truman, so I'm not going to throw it a guess. I think it would be more than a game and a half because it's the team they're immediately behind. It's interesting math sometimes because Weyburn picks up a win and Mavs pick up a loss at the same time. I think it might even be they would be 2 games behind or 2.5. I think two and a half, just 2.
Calder, high fly over towards left field. And this one is going to go a long ways all the way to the back corner. Calder's going to have himself a double here. And way to end off the night on, the right foot if you're Eric Calder. The celebration says it all, though, a bit of a shrug over at second base. And that's really all you can do if you're Medicine Hat at this point.
Yeah, 3rd hit of the night for Calder. And, well earned to put that one down the left field line. And, doing what he can in this inning to keep things alive for the Mavs.
Here's Adam Volcano with one on. Foreman. Still just has to get one more out. He was a strike away before, and Calder got to him. There's a strike to Volcano. Mavs will see Weyburn for one more on Sunday. It'll be an afternoon game. We'll return with you at 2:05 tomorrow. Early games are, depends who you ask. Some people like it. They, have the rest of their day to do things. Other people, they love the night atmosphere. Here's a ground ball over to Trevor Dale at short, and the Weyburn Beavers, they're going to make the call at first base, and that will get a protest for just about everybody who's left in the crowd. Weyburn taking game 1 of this 2-game set at Athletic Park over the Medicine Hat Mavericks, and they do it in convincing fashion. 16-3 the final score, 20 hits put up tonight. And how about the performance from Josh Pritchard? He set the tone from his first pitch of the game. He found the zone, he challenged hitters, he got swings, and most importantly, weak contact was his name of the game, and that allowed his offense to show out when they took the bat in their hand.
He did a really good job. We've seen the Mavs throughout the season able to have success against Pritchard. But we've also seen, in short outings, Pritchard was able to limit the Mavs, and that was on full display tonight, as you mentioned, the soft contact, and just didn't let them generate, and as you alluded to as well, just gave his offense the chance, and they did that. The middle of their lineup really, hit the ball well tonight and just passed the torch, and, they did big damage, but they also just let other guys contribute, and just an all-around really kind of win from Weyburn, and, 2 errors on the Mavs side, 1 on Weyburn, and it is just, it's a really good win for the Beavers and for the Mavs. It's one that they had to try to get here to stay in this playoff hunt, help their case, and just not able to come away with it.
The Beavers, they continue to rise late in the WCBL season as they push for a playoff spot. Mentioned it off the top, for the first time since before the pandemic. It has been a long time, and Weyburn, they have figured it out. A group of veterans who are just hungry to get a taste of playing and competing for a championship when the playoffs come around, and they are oh so close. They take it against the Mavs. A 13-run separation between these two tonight, 16-3 final score between the Beavers and the Mavs. They'll do it again tomorrow, 2:05 here from Athletic Park, and we'll be back with you here on Flow Sports. For James Tubb and myself, Truman Bartman, we say so long, take care, and we'll see you for another round of baseball tomorrow.